Well, well, well.
You're streaming live. Heads up.
All right, we're live.
Okay. Hold on. We're gonna have to like edit some of this. Is this going to your YouTube?
Okay, so why don't we run the commercial once and then just go live at this point, and I'm going to update the web page.
We're live right now, so let's go ahead and start running.
All right. Is it on your YouTube, Todd?
No, it is on the Edtech Live YouTube.
Okay. You need to give us screen sharing abilities, please.
There you go.
Welcome to Edtech Live. We're so happy that you're here. I'm Ryan. This is Tammy.
We would like to take a moment to welcome you to today's sessions and give you a little information about what to expect.
A new session starts each hour, and you can stay for the whole event or just watch the sessions that you're interested in. There is a 10 to 15 minute break between each session where you can enter attendance credit, participate in Twitter challenges, or take care of personal needs.
During each session, the presenter will give you a link. We'll pause the session so you can jot it down. Make sure you keep this at the end of the session. You will submit that information to get credit.
Within an hour of submitting your attendance, you should be receiving a response receipt. If you do not receive this email, please resubmit the attendance form and double check to guarantee that your email address is typed correctly.
We, along with our whole EdTech team, want to thank you for being here today and enjoy your session. It will be starting soon.
Everybody, hi, welcome to Edtech Live. As you can see, we have been having a few hiccups already this morning. We apologize for that because, you know, power's going out. Mine's blipped twice already. And then our team is doing a lot today to try and make sure that we have really good PD going on everywhere. So we've been kind of battling over an account. So we found one. We should be good. With that said, hi, I am Ryan Davis. I am joined by the wonderful Miss Amanda Campbell, who's on this side of me. Not entirely sure where she is on YouTube. But welcome to Edtech Live. It is Monday, February 15th, and it's cold. Amanda, are you?
It is very cold, but we're going to do the best we can, try to stay up and make this as good as we possibly can. So thank you for tracking with us. If you've been going through all the fun, we'll be here.
Yep. I mean, we're trying. We are going to do our best to keep this running and as smooth as possible. So most of us in the area are experiencing this power outages, internet down, ice storm, which we're not used to in Houston at all. Like there's actual snow on the ground. That's a thing. Mm-hmm. So with that being said, if we happen to, if I lose power, if Todd loses power or Amanda, If you would just go back to our SciFair EdTech channel on YouTube, which is where you are now. And like Amanda said, if you've been tracking with us, this is, I think, our third or fourth live stream to start this morning. So first up, well, first I should say, I guess I'm getting ahead of myself. I apologize. We kind of prepared for this. And so 3 of our sessions are actually pre-recorded because we weren't sure that all of our presenters would be able to join us live because power and internet and all that. So just to keep that in mind, some of these are pre-recorded. However, the presenters should be joining us in the YouTube chat live so that they can answer any questions that you may have during their session going on. And then any questions that we are unable to answer in the actual presentation, we will jot down, we'll take down, and we will email y'all with the answer as soon as we can find it.
That's our plan.
But
we do still have one live presenter, so.
We do. So we're on, I think we're on like plan C? E?
Sure. I mean, at this point, I'd pick a letter and go with it.
I mean, we have plans all the way through like Z, so fingers crossed here. All right, so first up, we actually have two stellar superheroes. Manny, he is one of SciFair's EdTech specialists, and he is joined by Sam, who is, and give me a second to get this correct, he is the School Partnerships Director, say that 5 times fast, for EdPuzzle. These 2 superheroes will be taking you on a journey through EdPuzzle and its many features. I am really excited to see this one because, I mean, Amanda, we work with Manny on a daily basis, and I love learning from Manny.
You know, it's going to be fun.
It is. It's always fun when Manny's involved. All right, so I am going to go ahead and get Manny and Sam up and running. So give me just 2 seconds. And here we go.
Hello, my name is Sam and I work for EdPuzzle. I work with all our Texas schools here at EdPuzzle, just trying to make sure that everyone's up and running and using EdPuzzle to the best of their abilities.
And just rocking it, right? They've have
yeah, just doing everything they can on EdPuzzle, all the little tips and tricks, making sure you're all using it as much as you can. So.
Woo! Well, I am Manny. I'm Manny Curriel, one of the EdTech coaches here in SciFair. And we have some awesome session for you. Let me start sharing my screen because we're going to introduce ourselves because that's just how it is. And then look at that. We are like superheroes. End video your lesson with EdPuzzle. We're going to show you how you're going to do exactly that. All the videos that you have or that we are going to encourage for you to have, you can turn them into lessons that give you what? Data. Woohoo. So please hold on your questions at the end because we're going to run out of time and we don't want to do that. We'll be in the chat answering your questions, so just make sure that you do use the chat. There's going to be a mystery code that's going to show up at some point, and that's how you're going to prove your attendance. So when that happens, stop what you're doing and fill that out. And make sure you put your email correctly, people. OMG. You'll be surprised of the things that we have. It's .net, not .com. And just make sure you spell your name and your last name correctly. Okay, hello, goodbye. All right, next.
So yeah, real quick, Manny, I'm just wanted to say I'm super excited for SciFair to have EdPuzzle. So everyone in SciFair has an unlimited plan right now. So,
oh, that's right.
Yeah, it's super exciting that you guys have this opportunity, and that's kind of why we're doing this, to make sure that you are able to learn everything you can about EdPuzzle to use it to the best of your abilities. So
at the end of the year, that's good. So at the end of the year, we're going to revisit and we're going to make a decision about what's going to happen for next year. But for now, we have a trial that is unlimited for everyone in SciFair. So let's get crack-a-lackin'. Okay. Toodle. So we'll be flying.
there we are. We are flying.
So you want to say a little bit about you?
Yes, so like I said, my name is Sam Brouse, and my official title here is the School Partnership Director for EdPuzzle. So I actually live here in Texas, so we're all in the same time zone. So that's a good benefit here. I was also a 7th grade math teacher up here in the DFW area. That's Dallas-Fort Worth.
Thank you, because I was like, where is that?
Yeah, that's a foreign thing to say. The DFW stands for Dallas-Fort Worth. So I taught pre-AP math and on-level math all in the same time. And I was an EdPuzzle user since the day I started teaching. And I used it religiously for every new content I introduced for my math class. So everything new was used with EdPuzzle, and then when those students came in, then we did all the fun activities. So I'm really excited to tell you guys everything that I know and everything that I've learned from using EdPuzzle as well.
Yeah, he's gonna show us one of the math videos, and I'm like, ooh, that is so foreign for me because I do language arts, and I taught the little ones. So you can have we're gonna show you our experience of from elementary and then upper, secondary, sure. Right? And here is one of my speech about doing things a little bit different. I would say, remember what happened to Blockbuster. We cannot be doing the same thing over and over again because, granted, our education is not going to become obsolete, but our teaching can be less impactful to students. So when I heard this quote from Jake Miller, it really opened up my eyes. I'm like, OMG. Yeah, when I came to the States, I didn't know any English whatsoever. And it hurt the fact that I didn't understand. I need time to process because I didn't know the language. There was a lot of words that I didn't know that I was like, what is that? What is that? What is that? And I would have missed a lot of things. I didn't know better at that point. When I became a teacher, I did the same thing to my students because, just like the quote said, I didn't know any better. I knew that I wish I had the power to pause and rewind my teacher so I have some processing time. Or maybe I could watch the video before the actual class so I have some preloading information just because it takes me longer. And I'll tell my students, my bilingual students, I know it takes me longer to understand concepts, and my partner teacher, she was on it. She memorized those bus numbers in 2 days. For me, I have to have my clipboard because I'm gonna put you in the wrong bus. That's me, and I know my limitations. So this is why videos, I think, is just OMG, the best thing ever. And I know I'm rambling because I'm giving you an experience. Why? Because you're probably okay, Manny, move on. This has been but a minute and a half or something, and you're get it with it, Manny. Let's move on to EdPuzzle. Some teachers do this for 30, 45 minutes to kids, especially when it's new content. It's intense. So record your lessons, put some questions, make them shorter because it's easier for students to understand new concepts when they're in smaller chunks. So I didn't know better. And I did the same thing, and probably you didn't know better, but we're showing you a way that you can empower your students and give the opportunity for your kids to revisit concepts. You can get it for a grade, but you can reset the lesson, and they can take it over and over and over again, and they can see how much better they're getting. So we're just the giver of advice. It's totally up to you to take it or not. Maybe you're not ready. Totally fine, because I sure wasn't at some point. And then I'm like, I need to do something better because my students are struggling. And EdPuzzle OMG changed my life forever. And it's been a whole whopping 2 minutes of me yapping, and you're probably like, let's go, Manny, move on. So I'm just saying, 2 minutes, it's a long time, especially when you're hearing something you don't really want to hear, or it's new concept, it just feels a lot longer. So just be mindful of that. When you use, I think we have something about video, so I'm gonna leave that to Sam about. So there you go.
So that was definitely a good segue, and like Manny was talking about, I mean, as teachers, we use the workshop model and everything, but we do tend to ramble a bit, go off on tangents. I mean, maybe not everyone, but every teacher I know goes off on a tangent. So here's our little agenda for today. So we're going to talk about what is EdPuzzle, why you need EdPuzzle, and you do need EdPuzzle. How to use video and record your lessons. The EdPuzzle cycle, that's probably my favorite slide. Manny did a great job on the EdPuzzle cycle slide. Schoology, how EdPuzzle and Schoology work together. Data.
Yes! The best part.
Some resources that we have for you, and then hello, goodbye. So, kind of our agenda today. So we got a lot to cover, but I'm really excited. Again, I'm just really excited for you guys to all have access to this, because it's not, not every school district gets this opportunity. So, but I knew you guys would take advantage of it. So
Hello, goodbye. You know who made the slides. But yeah, data to me, when you make educated decisions based on numbers, rather than this is how I feel right now, this is how this student is doing right now, I'm like, no, you need to base it on numbers. And EdPuzzle makes it so easy to do that. It's right. So what is EdPuzzle? Well, so we're all adults. I'm going to give you the slides at the end, because I know you're probably going to be like, oh, I have the slides. Goodbye. Now, I'm going to make you stay. That, and you need your attendance verification. So I'm not going to play the video, but you're going to have access to the video. So what EdPuzzle is, you have a video that either you record or that you grab from the web, or maybe another teacher has done. So you have a video, and that video, you're gonna be able to embed questions or comments or audio boxes into your video. So the video stops, and you can put questions, multiple choice or open-ended questions, or you can put a note, you can put a link. Remember, we're talking about this, and that is super powerful, because we all watch videos, and then you get into like, I don't know what I learned. So when you chunk it into small little pieces, it's like, it makes it easier for kids to stay on track. And I get feedback as in, are you understanding what I'm saying? And then we're going to show you some reports, 4 different reports that EdPuzzle gives you to make educated decisions based on like how you're going to make your groups, and the things that, is this working for your kids or is it not working? Because you got to try something else. So EdPuzzle just gives you all of that. It is so good. So that's what the video is about.
It really does help, and it really does help with that chunk and chew, like you were talking about. Just chunk it and then let them chew on that, and then you can move on to the next thing. That's what I love most.
Yes, and if you didn't get it, it gives you the opportunity of rewatch this segment. You don't have to watch the whole video again. It's just one segment. I will just make sure that the answer is in that segment. Okay. Just saying. Oh, yeah, right. I love slides. They're made genially, by the way. I don't know if you want to say that, but look at that. Look how cool Sam looks.
Yeah, it's beautiful. So just a little background here. I did tell Manny that I would prefer to use a pre-COVID picture of myself, because this was about 10 or 15 pounds lighter. So this is my best picture. So,
well, I look really white too. Is the lighting over here?
Yeah, professionally done. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the features. But first, I'm just going to kind of read this because it is interesting, and this did come straight from our EdPuzzle, our data here. So did you know that 84% of students use YouTube to help with their learning? They can learn at their own speed, and videos increase motivation. They gain deeper understanding of the subject, and they earn higher grades. So I would say this isn't even just students. Like, if you buy a house and you're trying to learn how to do something, you use YouTube for it, right? You go to find a video on how to do anything these days. And the students are no different. In fact, they're maybe even to more of an extent using videos for learning than we ever will. So it's really important that they have that option. And the different things that you can do in EdPuzzle are you can cut. So you can cut your video if you've recorded your own video, or if you find one from YouTube that you like or from wherever. You can cut pieces out of it. You can trim it from the top or from the beginning and the end. You can record an audio note, add questions, multiple choice, open-ended, that type of thing. You can, upload videos straight from your computer, from your Google Drive, wherever. Those are just kind of some of the features, and we're actually going to go into them a little more. But there is, like the quote says at the bottom here, there's no creativity without fun, no innovation without creativity, no success without innovation. And it says, are you ready to do awesome things? And that's kind of true. You're going to be able to do some awesome things with EdPuzzle. And I'm really, again, I know I'm going to say I'm really excited probably every slide, but I really am, because having your whole district on it is just huge. So
I think because whenever you're like, oh my God, I'm going to have to learn something new and one more thing and one more thing. But I'm telling you, if you do EdPuzzle, you're going to be cashing in some time. You're going to gain time because you are going to be able to pull groups, and you're going to see your high kids first, because you don't need to see with them for a long time. You meet with them like 2-3 minutes just to make sure that they understood the concept. Just saying, okay, EdPuzzle was right. You got it, because they might be guessing or cheating or whatever. You want to meet with them, but then you are going to meet with your low kids a lot longer, and that makes you it's just use your time a lot, more wisely. Because why are you keeping your high kids for 20 minutes? I'm like, they're bored. They got the concept. Make them do something that's going to help other kids, or push them to do something else, because the concept that you taught them, they got it. So you are going to end up having more time healing. So I'm telling you, you need to get it with EdPuzzle.
Yeah, it's a great way to differentiate your entire culture. That's the best. That's my favorite part.
It's gonna cut off other other people. But look, this is you.
Okay, so we're going to talk about different ways that EdPuzzle is helpful, right? So it's engaging. All right, it is engaging because the students will watch the video. They will have to watch the video, right? Because you're going to add questions, you're going to add notes in there. The students can't skip through that stuff. So they are going to have to watch the video. They have no other choice but to be engaged, okay? Now, the other thing that's really important here is it's available 24/7. So especially these days, more than ever, it's important for the students to have that flexibility. But my favorite part about it being available 24/7 is that the parents can get more involved, right? So I taught at a Title I school, and my parents were working 2 jobs, to try to support, and so they didn't always have the opportunity to learn what the students were actually learning, to be able to help them the best they could. So that's kind of why this is important. My parents actually started watching the EdPuzzle videos with their students, and so they were learning the content too, right? So they learned it so they could help the students out.
And they use the same vocabulary that you use, because sometimes my students were like, well, that's not what my dad said, and that is not how we do it. Then when you're modeling that, like my parents will be like, man, Mr. Curriel, well, they don't call me Manny. Mr. Curriel, my daughter is laughing out loud in your video. I'm like, but I'm teaching her a concept, and they will use the same model that I was using, and they were supporting us. And you're right, it might be late at night or really early in the morning or on Saturdays, because that's the only time they have available. So making a video and having a video on EdPuzzle that is walking parents and students the same way is just like super empowering.
And it's something they'll be able to go back to, come STAR test time. They can go back to it to review the content too. Even if you assign it, they can still go back and watch it again. So that's kind of important too. But then we got the data. So the group using data, this is like what Manny was saying, how you can differentiate, you can break it up into the groups, and you can break it up into the groups like per TEK or per video specifically. So, because some of my tier 1 kids when I was a teacher were tier 1 at, solving 2-step equations, but when it came to geometry, they didn't get geometry, right? So you can tell by each video how the student is doing, right? So that's the good way you can kind of group your students in there. But like Manny said, when you have those tier 1 students, that's what we call them in my district. But when we have the students that are on the upper level that maybe only need you to introduce the concept of what they're actually supposed to be doing, and then kind of send them off on your own. Yep. That gives you so much more time with a small group of the students who actually need you right then and there.
Time, it's super precious time that we never have enough of.
Seriously, 45 minutes is not enough to get 30 kids. So to be able to small group it is fantastic. Mm-hmm. It gives them immediate feedback. So immediate feedback when you have multiple choice question, it tells them the answer right then and there. You can also provide some feedback on each question if you'd like to. That gives them immediate feedback as well. And then it just does increased rigor for all the students, even your upper tier students. It would increase that for them. So.
Well, cool. Let me go to I have a mouse that is. I'm looking at my time. 27 minutes. Okay, there's a lot of words, and I'm not a fan of this slide, but I'm like, there's a lot. This is the trickiest part of EdPuzzle because it runs in a video. So hello, where are you gonna get the video from? Okay, so you have you have three options. You need to make a decision. Either are you recording your video, because that is like the best way. Kids want to hear you and your humor, and they want to learn from you. They don't necessarily want to learn from someone that they don't know and they don't know them. So I give you access to these videos. Like I have WeVideo, Screencastify, which Screencastify, even on the free version, once you're done recording your video, there's a button that says export to EdPuzzle. And honey, I'm telling you, like it opens up the editor and it's so cool. It's like one click, you're done. Now, I know teachers are familiar with Zoom. So if you want to record your Zoom or, but what we're doing right now is just have a meeting with just both of us and record our, record. So video is going to be embedded in there in the eye, and it will load whenever it decides to load. See if I can move these. So, and then you say, this is how you record in Zoom, this is how you record in Screencastify, and how do you record in WeVideo. So it doesn't really matter where you record or where your video is. It can be in Google Drive or in OneDrive or on your computer, or wherever it is. You're gonna have to upload it into EdPuzzle because EdPuzzle is going to stream their own video. So it doesn't really matter where. Now, if you're not using EdPuzzle, we in SciFair, we're recommending to use WeVideo because it just embeds really nice. And sometimes when you use Google Drive, it just doesn't work and it gets up a jiggity. And then you're gonna be calling us and it's like, my video doesn't work. I'm like, you should be using WeVideo, okay? So that's that on that. And the upload, again, if you go to the Avanti window, I recommend you use the OneDrive stream or the Google Drive stream. All it does is it puts your cloud drive into your computer. It creates like an image, and even an image to me sounds like that's weird. It's as if you have a hard drive, but it's your Google Drive or your OneDrive. So I always say, put it on the cloud. Don't put it in your hard drive. Don't be that teacher that has 1,000 things in your desktop, because the moment that you need to re-image, those videos are what? Gone. So don't do that. Now, YouTube, super touchy subject. We have opened YouTube to students, but it is, as you can read, the strict restricted mode, which means only educational videos are approved. But I have run into educational videos that are not approved. We don't make the rules. It is an all or nothing. Now, curriculum content can approve videos, and they are the only people that can send you YouTube videos, whatever it is that they want, because they approve it. Those videos will work. Another way you can find out if the YouTube video works is if your kid is in SciFair, log in using their info and find out if they can watch the video. Then there you go. And if not, well, I guess you're gonna be recording your own video. I mean, you can test it out and see if it works, but there's no way for you as a teacher to find out if the video is gonna be viewable or not if you don't have a login information, login as a student. So you have to test it out. If not, like I said, like all my kids and all my parents said, we want to see you because you are the teacher, not someone else. But I know some videos are amazing edits and they look amazing and you just want to go with that. But then, I know what to tell you, Kier. But these are your options that when it comes to videos. Now you're gonna see when I show you EdPuzzle. I have 23 minutes. Look at my time. You're gonna see all these channels with YouTube and the Khan Academy and all of that. I wouldn't necessarily go there because we have the restrict this mode. You can find inspirations from there and then find out if the video is approved or not. But if you want to use YouTube, your options, it's right there in the purple. So go with what curriculum gives you or test it out on a student account. That's my 2 cents on that. This is his favorite slide.
I love a good flow chart. Okay, so here's the strategy, right? So like Manny, I'm just going to real quick talk about what Manny was just talking about too, is you know, it is important to record your own videos because those videos are going to save, right? And if you made just a bomb video, it's awesome, it's fantastic, you love everything about it, well, you can use it for the next year, right? So that's the important thing too, is you don't have to re-record these videos every year. Once you get a good library in your or once you get some good content in your library, it's going to stay there. So you know, make sure you do record your videos, or, you know, the Math Antics guy is fantastic. There's great little animation behind him and stuff, but your kids don't even know his name, so.
And
Right.
something else, I'm sorry to interrupt. Something else that you would think of, see, I lost my train of thought. I guess I should be interrupting you. Whoops.
Just write it down, raise your hand.
Right? I was like, oh, let me say this, but I forgot. Anyways.
So yeah, you can record your video, upload it, or get it from YouTube, like Manny talked about. The next thing is to ask questions or add questions, notes, or audio notes. That's kind of where the accountability feature comes in for the students. So, you know, you have to add questions, or you don't have to add questions, but I wouldn't recommend adding a video without questions, right? So that way you can kind of gain that, get that data from the students. Notes are just like it sounds, a note, right? And it still stops the video. And then audio notes, a note with audio.
I use that for the littles because some of my first graders or kindergarten teachers that they use it, well, kids don't know how to read. So you read the question in an audio note, and then, you know, the question shows up. So they already have the audio of you reading it because they don't know. And then the option choices could be pictures. So
Yes.
see, EdPuzzle for everyone.
Yes, there you go. Yeah, I couldn't imagine my 4-year-old doing the EdPuzzles that I used to make as
Yeah.
a 7th grade teacher. So no, that's a fantastic point. I mean, there's a lot of different features. You can use this to whatever works best for you and your students. So yeah, then you go into assigning it to your students via Schoology. And then from there, you can pull your data, so you can get the small groups, you can get create your next mini lesson, and restructure for your next video. So if there's a little part in that first video that the students didn't quite get, and you can see that in your data, which we'll get to, right? You can see which part they didn't get. If the entire class didn't get it, that's something to come back to. So I think that's kind of the important thing too.
And it's easy, like it's like black and white. It tells you most of the kids miss this because sometimes. I mean, it's not that there's so many things teachers are doing right now. It's so easy to just like move on, but data's telling you like they didn't get this. So it's like, this is what I like, because sometimes I'm in la la land. I'm like, I need something black and white that tells me in my like, look, alert, Will Robinson problems. It's right there, so you can't miss it.
Yeah, you just get stuck in the scope and sequence and like, oh, I only have one more day to cover all
Yeah.
of this. But, you know, you do got to make sure you go back and make sure the students are actually retaining that information you're giving them in the videos.
That's right. So the next video shows how to embed in EdPuzzle, which I'm going to do a live anyways, but the video is there. I'll show you step by step how to how to link your accounts and how you're going to use Schoology to pull your EdPuzzle. Because then you're going to email me and says, Manny, I don't see my kids. I'm like, well, did you watch my video? And they just look at me. So that's for you to watch, and I'm going to move on because I'm gonna do it live anyways. So alert. See?
There it is.
So right now you need to stop what you're doing. I need you to pop up your phone and scan the QR code or type in this bit.ly into another tab of yours. They should be putting the link on the chat anyways for you to just like bloop and do it. But this is your chance to get verification. Don't be emailing me 5 months later and say, Manny, I didn't get attendance. I'm like,
Yeah, don't be an hour short.
I was like, I know what to tell you. So this is what you should be doing now. And you have a few more seconds because we need to move on. This slide does not go with the theme, and I wasn't very happy about it.
I mean, the colors kind of. I don't know. All you need to do is just add one of our faces into the QR code. Just
Yeah. All right, so I'm gonna move on. Yeah, the link was in the chat. You got a chance to scan this. I mean, it's Edtech Live CFIZ1. for the first session because we're like early risers. Yes. Alrighty, so here is the best part, the data. I love it. So this is your slide, my slide. I don't even know.
No, I'll talk about that.
Oh, that's you. Yeah.
So the data, like we talked about earlier, there's 4 different things you can use for data, and probably even more when you really dig down. But the 4 main things are per classroom. So you can look at the data in your entire classroom, right? How all the kids in your class were doing. You can look at it per question, so you can dig down even deeper, like per each individual question, how all the students did on that one question. You can do per student, and so that one would be like what it sounds like, right? You go to the student and see how they're doing on every single video or every single question on every video. And then you can see the watch time. So the watch time is important too, because you may be like, they watched it. But if the video is like 3.5 minutes with like 4 or 5 questions added on, and it took them 3 minutes and 45 seconds to watch the video, they probably didn't even read the question, right? So you got to make sure that they're actually watching it, but it also tells you how many times they viewed each section of that video. And that's where we talked about with the small group. That's where, to me, that's the most important part of the data, is being able to see how many times they watched the video. Because if they watched this section 4 times right before the question came up, that means they needed 4 times to recall what that question was where they could answer that question. Whether they got it right or wrong, that's still something that needs to be brought up. So.
I was supposed to click on these things.
Okay, yeah, I didn't want to tell you what to do.
You should have told me what to do.
I was sitting over here trying.
Yeah, I was like, oh wait, I'm the one driving.
This is the watch time that we were talking about.
Yeah. So the student name, and it tells you like this is what he's talking about. Like it tells you the chunks of time, and then how many times this student went back out of three questions right. It tells you how long it took him. Look, this was almost a 4-minute video, and it took him almost double. So this is the things that you notice when you have that kid. I'm done with everything. I'm like, it took you literally like you just guess. So you can, the video will tell you.
And those teardrops at the bottom, those green ones, those are actually the questions. So you can see like that section right before a question, if it says 3 or 4, that's why they went back and watched that section that many times.
So let's show this. I'm sorry, I'm a little weird.
Yeah. So this is for classroom. Right, so you can see all the students in your classroom. The bar is just how the percentage that they've watched.
This is the one I use the most because it gives you a glimpse, and that says, okay, all the ones that are doing okay with the yellow, they're my bubble kids. The red was, if they were like, depending on the bar or the percentage, I can click, but it gives you a percentage like here. That's why I took the screenshot like that. It tells you the actual grade in a way. So that's how I'll make my groups based on this report. This is the one I use the most. If you have a struggling student, then yeah, by all means, go to this per student or per question.
Yeah, and so this is the per question. I like to have it for sure because you can kind of dig down a little deeper, and that's what I mean. Starting from the first data that we talked about here down to the 4th one there, it just digs deeper. That's what it's all about. It's just digging as deep as you need or want to go as a teacher. So this will tell you which one they got right or wrong. Multiple choice questions will automatically be graded. So,
and the open-ended, I think I don't have an example. Gives you the question, and then all the answer choices are at the bottom, and then you'll click yes or no, they got it right or they got it wrong, and then it disappears and it pushes the other question. So you grade it is really fast.
Yeah.
So, and like you have the other tab for the student, and then when you click per student, this is what you will see. Like this is how Danielle did. And it give you like this is one question, and at the bottom we'll give you another question and so forth. So it gives
that little thing over there that says 100 out of 100. You can change that. So if you want to give them part credit for something, you can do that as well. If you made a multiple choice question and they got it right, but you're giving them partially credit, I don't know what the reason for that would be, but it's there, right? So you can do that in open-ended questions too. If you think like, oh, they got half credit on this, then give them half credit. So and you can add comments right there too. So that way the students can go back and see exactly what your thought process is on the grading of it.
So data is like, so in the beginning, when I was a new teacher, I'm like, I don't understand. I'm going to go with, because I know my students. I'm like, yeah, you want to go with something that is like black and white that you can measure And whenever you take it to your IEPs or something, I'm like, this is what I'm doing. It's not just how you.
Yeah, and you can export that into a Excel file or CSV file, so you can have that when you go to those plans. All right, so we're going to talk about the benefits of EdPuzzle versus just watching a video. So the first one is it's self-graded for open or for multiple choice questions. It grades itself. You don't have to do anything, which is the best part of being a teacher, right? So that way you can go ahead and make the video, put which question is the correct answer, and then boom, it's done. And it's asked obviously that way too. So the data that we just talked about, that's the biggest thing here is, you know, watching. If you just send a student to watch a YouTube video, you're not going to have any data. You're not quite frankly going to even know if they watched it, right? So they can take notes and you can look at their notes from that. But, you know, when I first started teaching, I just assigned a YouTube video, right? And the students just copied notes from their friend. So they didn't actually, like, I could tell too, because it was exactly the same, right? So that's the, you know, you get the data, the accountability. The biggest thing for me too is the accountability. So the students are being held accountable for their learning, which is super important. And then, you know, you can share lessons with teachers, with other teachers, and take the data to your conferences, your IEP, your everything like that.
Yeah, you can remember you prove like the kid is making progress, even though the student might still be failing. We're just like, look, he's making progress, so we're getting there. So that's something I also tell my students. Granted, you still do like 40s, but like you were doing 20s, so like that's great. Eventually, which that happened, like eventually towards the end of the year, that kid was passing. He was so excited, but it was gradual. And you can measure it like that with EdPuzzle.
Growth is a thing for, you know, the accountability on the STAR testing. So growth is important.
Yeah.
Not just making sure they're passing, making sure they're growing on the way. So
we celebrate that. Yeah, the evil video on its own, because like you don't really get anything. Like you don't know if, like you said, you don't know if they're watching it. They don't, or if they go and rewatch it, you don't know that. But with EdPuzzle, you do. Or if they're learning, because there's no questions, there's nothing for you to prove that they understood that concept in that segment, and then there's no data. So sad. So
there's no way to pull anything to be able to see who's, you know, to see what groups these students should be in. So that's why we have the data.
I know, it's like so cool. So let's demo this. Because we have about 12 minutes to be done. So you're going to go to edpuzzle.com. And I know my face is covering the button. But here is his login. And I know you probably don't have an account, but you're going to click login anyways. And then you're going to say, I'm a teacher. And then you're going to scroll down because, look, you can't see it. But there's something that I forget too. You need to scroll down. Manny, I don't see it. I'm like, scroll down. It's right there. You just need to scroll. I need Google, and this is going to make your account, your school account, wherever, like, all this calls, with your school account, and it will load. I'll click on my email, my school email, and it links my account. So, I should have this in. Anyway, so I'm going to show how you're going to, where you have all your content, how you're going to upload your videos. The cool thing about this is because we're using Schoology, you don't have to create an EdPuzzle class. You're going to, well, your course is already done in Schoology. So when you go into Schoology for the first time, it's going to ask you to log in, and it's going to bloop. It's not going to sound like that. It's just going to do it. It just merges your account, and I'm just chit-chatting because this is taking too long. Okay, so your account shows up, and you said that you're in Sci-Fair ISD, and you have, well, my content, but my face is also covering it. Let's see if I can move it. Yeah. So behind me, I don't even know if, because when we're live, even though I move my screen, you don't see that I'm moving my screen. Behind my face, there's a blue button that says Add Content. When you click that button, you can upload your own video, or you can create a video. So I always upload my own video because my video is somewhere in my hard drive, or it's in my OneDrive or something like that. I suggest, if you want to use YouTube, that you go to YouTube and you get the link you get the link because that is easier. Go to the actual YouTube, find the video that you want, or find the video or the link that Curriculum gave you, and then you can find it in there and it will pull out the video. So I'm just gonna go to, and my content should be down here. So once you upload your video, it's gonna give you, it's just gonna put it here. And if you choose to use a YouTube video, it's just gonna open up the editor. So this is when I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and then Mr. Sam is gonna do his magic.
All right, so I'm going to go directly to a video that I made as a 7th grade math teacher. So the handwriting, I know, trust me, I know. One of my students said it looks like I wrote with my left foot, and I couldn't disagree with him at the time, so that's the worst part.
But you know your math.
It got better as the years went on. But so this video is just about solving and graphing inequalities. This was something that my students kind of struggled at, so this was actually a second time I made a video about it. But one of the things I want to say here is that this video is like 7.5 minutes long, right? Which you got to figure out what works for your students and how long the video can be for them, because the littles may not be able to sit there for even 7 minutes.
Yeah,
right?
which by the way, we have about 7 minutes.
Yeah, okay, so I'm going to go ahead and show you how to add questions, right? So I pulled the video that I wanted to use. Let's just say I uploaded it. Mine is actually from YouTube because I uploaded them onto YouTube and then copied them for one reason or another. That's how I did it years ago. So we'll go to edit, and it's going to look like this at first, but once you play it, it goes back to a normal looking video. So this is how you cut, all right? You can cut from the beginning, end, or you can make a cut in the middle to cut out some of it. And then now we're going to go to questions, right? So I already have a few questions I have ready here. So I'm going to find the mark that I wanted to make the question. And so let's say I have one at 40 seconds, right? I'm going to click where I want to make the question. That's at the 40-second mark. And I'm going to click open-ended. Okay, so my open-ended question was this right here. And I'm going to show you how to do something on here as well for us math guys and girls. We have an equation editor here that also has, all of the math symbols you possibly need. So I'm going to add both of those. So there you go. Look. So why do you think the circle would be closed for the less than or equal to, greater than or equal to symbol? Okay. And the nice thing is the students can answer the question with those same equation editors. Okay. So I'm going to add that open-ended question. All right. And then my next question here, you can go through and watch your video. So question number 1 says 2x plus 7. My own voice is the worst. Then I'm going to go to the next question I'm going to do is a multiple choice question, okay? So I'm going to skip through here for the sake of time. And my next question, I'm going to make it at 3 minutes and 39 seconds, okay? Because while I was recording this video, I noticed these are the times where I had a good opportunity to make a question. So this will work too. The next one is multiple choice, right? So how do you remove a constant? That's going to be my question here. And my answer choices would be, you can have as many or as little answer choices as you like. Obviously more than one is ideal. One would be dead giveaways. So yeah. Just real quick, I'm going to show you these 3. And the important thing too is when you look at adding questions in here, you can put a check mark for multiple questions or for multiple answers, but that means that those answers are both correct. That does not mean either or, okay? So that's important to remember. The check marks means that answer is correct and that answer is correct. So if I did both of these, the students would have to choose both those answers, okay?
So I just want to point that out, that there's that add another answer choice right above the cancel, there's a little plus.
Yes, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I did that without even talking about it.
Upside.
So add another answer choice is right there. So again, you can add as many or as little as you like. Oh boy, that was an accent, but that works too. So the other cool thing right quick is if I were to have the littles, right? The littles had a video. You can actually record a audio, or you can record a question here if I wanted to. And this is what the question will look like. It won't give the students the correct answer.
With the constant, you have to...
You can have a multiple choice question with, a picture. If you wanted to have a picture on there for the little ones, and then they can actually choose the answer choice whether it's a picture or not, right? You can have links in here as well. There's just a lot of different features, and I kind of just encourage you going around and playing with it and seeing which one works for best with you and your students. So now that I'm finished with that, that's my video, and I added 2 questions to it, and then I can go ahead and, well, you guys are doing it through Schoology.
Yeah, so that's what I'm going to show. I'm not going to show you guys how to add questions, because he already showed you. On my Schoology, like for example, I'm going to use this video. I'm going to, he showed how to add all these little questions. So I'm just going to assign it. And then at the bottom is going to say, I have all this, oh, you don't assign it from here. That's what I'm just remember. Like, look, I can't assign it to my Schoology classes. So what I need to do is I go to Schoology. This is my sandbox. You click in add materials and then EdPuzzle. That's something I always do because I'm so used to assigning within EdPuzzle, but you don't do that in Schoology. So add materials. This is the EdPuzzle. And then if you've never done it before, it's going to ask you to log in. And you log in with Google, please, just because it just gets up a jiggity. So the same way you log in your EdPuzzle account, you're going to use the same way you do it over here. And then it's going to pull up all the videos that you have created. So I'll show you that the one that it was like character analysis, I believe, which is this. So I click on watch. And then from here, I assign it. I click assign, and then it pulls out the Schoology courses that I have, which is, the one I have in my Super Manny, my sandbox. You do want to have the skip on because you don't want kids to be, if they haven't watched the video, there's a lock, so they can't fast forward. So you assign it, and you're done. It just.
And real quick too, if you don't mind, the prevent skipping is a feature that you can turn off and on your account setting. It's on for everyone at all times. You can go turn it off, but I would never recommend that. So
yeah, no, always do it. Then there's also something that's very important that it shows in the video. Once it's here, you have to click edit, because you have to enable grading. If you don't enable grading, your kids are going to say, whoops, there's the problem. So enable grading, and then you put whatever category you want. I always put practice, and then you have save changes, and you're done. If you go into your grade book, you're going to see that EdPuzzle is going to create an assignment in your grade book. Ooh, we have minutes. I'm looking at my time. So that's great because it's like syncing. You can go back to EdPuzzle if you want to pull more reports, but if you want just the grade, Gradebook is going to give you, the grade within their gradebook. So look, we'll have a whole bunch because I have lots of what is it called? Assignments, but they're all over here. The you can't see it. It pulls. It's right here. I promise you. Oh, maybe I can do it like this.
That's just one more way of being able to save time for yourself to be able to review the data instead of having to enter grades in or any of that stuff. So
yeah. So look, these are the grades I had with Jamay and everybody else. Oh, character analysis, right there. Boom. All right. So where are the slides? You say, because we have 2 minutes. So this is it. So we show you why you should be doing EdPuzzle because it's amazing, and then we walk you through the whole thing. There's going to be videos again, and I'm going to show you my. Slides are going to be, oh, wait. If not inside fair, you need to know this is a slide will be for you. This is the bit.ly, the EdPuzzle-live. These are all our info. That's Sam's email and the EdPuzzle YouTube channel. And he's flying because he's a superhero. So this is where you'll find the slides if you're not inside fair. If you are inside fair, have this website that is the bit.ly, which is his Schoology website. And this is my one-stop for all teachers. I have a fabulous GIF. And he walks you through this little menu. Again, this was genuinely because it's, oh my God, it's so good. And obviously it's not loading. I'm going to go through the boring menu just because, I don't think I can anymore because I already entered it. So this is just like, welcome to my website inside Schoology. This is me. I tell you this is what we do. We assign to campuses. So you can just check this here, or you can go to the main menu, and in the menu is where the hub is. We have all the DLC sessions from last year. We have the DLL, which is a camp that we did for students. We have elementary, middle, and high school. We have the other EdTech live sessions that we done. I have all the sessions that I've done. I have all the slides. So you're gonna go to learn some apps. So there's a lot of info here. So in the learn some apps, you don't get credit for this. See, I need to, one more minute, Timmy, hold on. She's looking at me. Okay, so EdPuzzle, and then you find slides. The updated slides, this is where they are. And then this video eventually is going to be here as well. So see, I went over 1 minute, but the slides is going to be here. I wanted to show you this because you have access to a lot more things. If you go back, this is some of the trainings that I've done. Obviously, you know that I'm a web video lover, but I've done all of these things, so you have access to a lot more just than EdPuzzle. Whew, we made it.
Well done. Timing.
Yeah, well, thank you for, doing this session with me.
Yeah, no problem at all.
All right, well, bye.
All right, bye.
Okay, so that was an action-packed session with Manny and Sam. So thank you, to Manny and Sam, because they were joining us in the YouTube live chat. They were answering questions as they popped up, and they're just fun to watch. I mean,
completely.
It's fun. It's always going to be fun when Manny's involved, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, so we did see a couple things mentioned in the chat about attendance verification. So we did post the verification link, and if you filled it out early, it's cool. We got it. As long as you got that response receipt saying thank you for submitting, you're good. If you have not gotten that yet, two things to try. One, check your clutter/junk email. It might have gone there. Two, try resubmitting and double, triple, and quadruple check that your email was typed in correctly. That is typically what we see. The big problem, if we use a comma instead of a period, or it's .org, .com instead of .net. We are cfisd.net. So make sure you're entering your email correctly. That's the biggest thing. So,
and there's a third thing, because when I saw those comments, I went in to make sure the form was working. If you can't find it in your clutter or junk, you know that your email is correct. You can also search for CFISD EdTech Live, because that's in the subject line of the email. So see if that'll pull it up. Just another way to check.
That's a good one. So there are 3 different ways for you to check for that response receipt. And if you've tried all 3 and you still don't see it, try submitting again.
Absolutely.
I mean, give it an hour, and if an hour you get like 5 emails, then we got it, right?
Yes.
Okay, so we're gonna take a really short break, and we will be back right around 10. So during this time, you can submit that attendance form. Twitter challenge, have fun with the Twitter challenge, it's out there. And then take care of any personal needs. I mean, it's still snowing here, so I need to bundle up again. It got cold.
Same here.
Yes. All right. So we will see you guys back here in just a few minutes.
We're so happy that you're here. I'm Ryan. This is Tammy.
We would like to take a moment to welcome you to today's sessions and give you a little information about what to expect.
A new session starts each hour, and you can stay for the whole event or just watch the sessions that you're interested in. There is a 10 to 15 minute break between each session where you can enter attendance credit, participate in Twitter challenges, or take care of personal needs.
During each session, the presenter will give you a link. We'll pause the session so you can jot it down. Make sure you keep this at the end of the session. You will submit that information to get credit.
Within an hour of submitting your attendance, you should be receiving a response receipt. If you do not receive this email, please resubmit the attendance form and double check to guarantee that your email address is typed correctly.
We, along with our whole EdTech team, want to thank you for being here today and enjoy your session. It will be starting soon.
Welcome to EdTech Live. We're so happy that you're here. I'm Ryan. This is Tammy.
We would like to take a moment to welcome you to today's sessions and give you a little information about what to expect.
A new session starts each hour, and you can stay for the whole event or just watch the sessions that you're interested in. There is a 10 to 15 minute break between each session where you can enter attendance credit, participate in Twitter challenges, or take care of personal needs.
During each session, the presenter will give you a link. We'll pause the session so you can jot it down. Make sure you keep this at the end of the session. You will submit that information to get credit.
Within an hour of submitting your attendance, you should be receiving a response receipt. If you do not receive this email, please resubmit the attendance form and double check to guarantee that your email address is typed correctly.
We, along with our whole EdTech team, want to thank you for being here today and enjoy your session. It will be starting soon.
And we're back.
That was kind of a shorter break than typically, just because well, kind of going with the day.
It's working, you know?
It is. Knock on wood. Okay, so next up we are having I can't talk.
Let's rewind, try that again.
Right, start over. Oh, we're live, can't. Okay, next up, we have another one of our EdTech specialists. This time we're going to see Tammy, and then we are also going to see Jamay. So Zachary Johnson is one of our math curriculum coaches up at ISC, and they are going to be talking to us about Jamboard. So I really feel like we should make, the corny Jamboard, it's my jam joke, because
we have to.
I mean, I feel like it's required. Like, you have to do the funny Jamboard. Let's jam.
It's right? My jam.
It's my jam. Awesome. Okay, so here we have Tammy and Jamay. Again, this is a pre-recorded session, but Tammy is with us. So if we have power and internet, Tammy's going to join us to try and help out with some of the questions in the YouTube chat, as well as an interactive piece that we have. So if we're ready, are we ready to jam?
I think we're ready to jam.
Yes, had to get it in there one more time.
Just once.
Just once. I couldn't resist.
Our next session is a tech tool, which is becoming hugely popular among educators who are looking for tools which promote student engagement and student voice. I'm here today with Zachary Johnson, who is one of our math coaches with Cypress Fairbanks ISD. She's been an educator for the last 12 years, starting out in middle school math, and then working on her way into a math coach position. In the time that I've known her, I have noticed that she is very passionate both with math and education, and I believe this is her driving force as to why she looks for certain tech tools and why she gets behind them. And Jamboard is definitely a tool that she gets behind. My name is Tammar Ferguson, and I am one of the EdTech coaches for Cypress Fairbanks ISD.
And together, Tammy and I will be going over all of the cool, creative things that you all can do with the Jamboard. We're even going to have you practice in creating some of those today.
If you have any questions, feel free to post them in the chat. We will do what we can to answer them, and many of those we'll be able to answer directly in the chat with you. In addition, if you have questions after our event, feel free to follow us on Twitter and ask those questions. We'll be happy to answer them. In addition, this presentation will actually be shared with you. As you can see, our presentation today is actually built right in Jamboard, and this entire Jamboard will be shared with you, and you can do what you want with it. Now, before we kind of get started, I know that many of you are not the first time users of Jamboard, and you may have some ideas that you're willing to share with us how you use Jamboard in your classroom. Feel free right now to put those suggestions in the chat. Now, Jamay, I know that you have made Jamboard with your teachers, and the very first time that you've created Jamboards, and with teachers that have never used them before, how would you describe it for first-time users when you're introducing it?
Well, Tammy, I would actually describe a Jamboard as a mixture or a combination of Google Drawing and Google Slides. This is where on the Jamboard, students can actually use a drawing tool, use a writing tool, or add text. And it also allows you all to be extremely creative.
You know, I can totally get behind that. So our session today, we are going to go over some examples of Jamboards. We're going to show you how to create those examples. And at this point in our presentation, we're actually going to ask you to jump right on our Jamboard and check out what we've done and play with what we've done, and also contribute your own ideas to the Jamboard. And then we're going to close, so make sure that you come back after you've played in our Jamboard, because that's part of our presentation. Come back and we're going to show you how to share those Jamboards with your students, the ones that you've created and you want to give to your students. So I see that on our chat that many of you have posted some ideas. Thank you for sharing your ideas.
That's good.
Yes, thank you. So to get started, if you've never gone to Jamboard before, my recommendation is a couple of things, however you want to get there. The first thing you could do is, if you can remember this, is go to jamboard.google.com, and or you could, if you're already logged into Chrome, you can click on this little waffle thing right here, and you can scroll down, and you can see Jamboard pops up on your screen right there. Now, once you're in Jamboard, your Jamboard that you've created will pop up in here, and those that are also shared with you will be on your dashboard. And you can select those that are owned by you and just choose the ones and view the ones that you've created. You can also change your viewing format, so you can actually get like a preview of what's in each one of these jams, or you can go back to the icons.
That's a cool option.
It is, because sometimes like these ones right here, they look like they're blank and there's actually stuff in them. They're not. And that gives you kind of a preview. Now, what we'd like to do now is show you some examples of jams. So built in this Jamboard that we're going to share with you in a few minutes, we have some examples. So if you're just getting started, you may want to just use the tools that are just in Jamboard. So you can add a picture, provide a prompt, and then ask your students to answer that prompt on the left. Now, some ideas for your students could be using the stylus or the pen. You can use your mouse, but if you are a Cypress Fairbanks teacher with students, your students are being issued touchscreen Chromebooks. And if your students don't yet have them, styluses are coming. So look out for that with your kids being able to use them. If you are a Cypress Fairbanks teacher, did you know that your touchscreen computer also has a stylus? How many of you didn't know that? So just look on the left or the right of your actual laptop, depending on which one you have. There's a stylus and it's kind of stuck in there. Take a peek for it and you'll be like, oh my gosh, there it is. Yes, there it is. Every computer has one, so you have to kind of look for it to find it if you don't know that it's there. Okay. If your students do not have a touch screen or they don't yet have a stylus and drawing with their finger is kind of problematic for them, well, there's a sticky note they could use and the students just click on it. They type their message, change their color, and then they click save. Now the other option could be to use the text boxes to be able to put your answers in there. Answer in one frame. I almost said slide. They are called frames in Jamboard. Now if I ever say slide, that's a slip on my part because I'm always thinking slides, but they are frames. Okay, now here's a cool feature that you may not know. You can use a pointer and then it disappears, and it does show up on multiple screens. On everybody's screen that's on that particular frame, we'll see your little laser pointer. So it kind of helps when you're explaining things. All right, next one.
So I'm going to actually show you all a math screen, a math example. And this is one that I made. Graphs, and they can either decide if it's positive or negative slope. But what's cool about this is I made this using their own background, and if the students were to click on this, you would see that it lights up, but it's just the outside box. I put a box on the outside of it to actually kind of lock in the graph.
That's cool.
It's an option.
Okay, in addition to that, hold on. Give us a moment. We're flip-flopping back and forth. Into that, you can make manipulatives in Jamboard. Isn't that pretty cool? So this is an example
That's
of,
cool.
Yes, it is. This is an example of a progression board. Now the drawing tools and the building tools inside of Jamboard is kind of limited. So if you like to create your own things outside and you have your favorite drawing platform, feel free to use them, save it as an image, and then bring it into your Jamboard, which is what I did exactly right here. So I created the background. All of this is not movable. All of this is, and let me click on my little select button instead of my laser. All of this is all part of the background. It's not movable. And you can go in there and ask your students to double click on their little post-it note that they're going to select. They write their name, or not. Let me try that again. Going to double click. There you go. They write your name, and then maybe Janae can put her name in one. And when you get on this today, feel free to put your name on a post-it note too. And you can use it
to show where you are. So it's only 5 minutes into class and I'm done, people. That would probably be a red.
So fast.
I know. I just that would be a red flag for your teacher. But also helpful is, let's say Janae is still stuck on her first task, so she's going to move herself into this box. And that's helpful for me as a teacher because I would know right away that Janae is waiting for some help. And when I'm done my breakout rooms, if I'm doing breakout rooms in Zoom or if I'm doing small group instruction, I know that she's waiting there, so she's not sitting there doing this trying to get my attention. That's her way of getting my attention. Don't you just love it when kids are like, ah, hello, hello.
You're right. Miss.
Oh, yes. My favorite word in the whole world. Miss. No. All right. Okay, so at this point, I think it's a good time for us to show you exactly how we built these things. We're going to start with our first example where we just use stuff inside of Schoology. Oh, wrong word. Stuff inside of Jamboard, which allows us just to use the tools and build things. So the first example we gave you was a prompt with some pictures, but I was thinking that instead of doing that, let's give you a different example so you get 2 examples that you can take in your template today. And I was thinking maybe agree, disagree kind of thing. What do you think, Janae?
Oh, yeah. I think that'd be a good idea.
All right. So I want you to be thinking of your topic because I have to concentrate only on one thing at a time. I have trouble with that. So I'm going to start with a shape. It defaults with a circle. So I'm going to stick on the little pointy thing to make it point out. And I want a square. And all I have to do...
I have a topic, Tammy.
Oh, goody. And I just click on my screen and resize it because I want it to take up the whole, watch me use the right word this time, frame. I need brownie points. Actually, no, I just need brownies. Okay, I'm going to click Control-C, Control-V. That allows me to copy it. So it's exactly the same size, which sometimes is exactly what you want. In this case, maybe not so much because I'm going to have to resize it, which is fine. And I am going to change the color. So I have green on one side and I have red. So what's our topic today, Miss Janae? That rhymes.
Well, I was thinking, how about we ask, about Christopher Columbus? Like, did he really discover America?
Ooh, okay. So should Mr. Christopher, let's see if I can spell his name right, Columbus, oh yeah, look at me, I'm on fire. Columbus.
Receive recognition, yeah.
Yes, receive. I before E except after receive. Oh, just like I totally messed that up. I should just do small words, right? Recognition for, you know what? I just need Grammarly for discovering America. There we go. I had to really concentrate on all this. Now, yellow's a good color, don't you think?
Yeah, it'll stick out.
It'll stick out. Now, I could change it to different colors or even go transparent if I wanted to.
Oh, that's what that means.
Yeah, okay. It means there's like no color in there. Okay, so I'm going to click Save. Now, do you want to do another sticky note? No, I'm going to click Cancel.
No, just
one. And I'm going to stick that over to the middle and resize. Now, this is kind of boring. What do we need?
I think we need a picture.
Yes, I think so too. So off to the left, I have a little button that says Add Image, and I'm going to just do a search on Google and do something for Christopher Columbus.
I have a question, Tammy.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, you know, usually you have to be careful about the publication, if you can use that picture for free or not. So when you go through this route, do you have to worry about that?
Good question, because normally when you Google things, you can get into a little bit of trouble grabbing things that you really don't have permission to share. When you're using this tool, no, that is not a problem at all. Good. So I don't get as many pictures to select from, but I can feel confident that the pictures I'm putting in there are not going to get me in trouble. So awesome. There we go. How long did that take me? 2 minutes? Oh, no, we're not done. There's no directions. Okay.
Yes.
All right, let's put one more thing in there. This time I'm going to put a text box because I need to tell them what the green and the blue is. So I just click on the box and it makes a text box. And I'm going to say, I agree because. And when I click off of it, that might not be the size you want. So I'm going to click back on it and resize it. Now, instead of hitting Control C, I could actually just click on these little 3 dots right here. And I have these choices right here, including duplicate. And now I can get it the same size, which is helpful sometimes, especially when you want to match. And all I have to do is click on this. There we go. I'm done. Okay, that was pretty quick and easy, wasn't it? And it's all ready to go. Now, I could have all my kids pile onto this one frame, but that's probably not going to give you very good in-depth discussions. So maybe what you want to do is duplicate this and have a bunch of kids or a few kids on each one of these. Well, there's a trick to doing that too. Up at the top, click the down arrow. And you can create blank slides just by clicking on the plus right here. Oh, look, Janae is not on my slide. She's not right there with me anymore.
I'm sorry, there you go.
So that's actually a good thing I should point out right here is that I can see where my students are by just clicking on this little thing, and I can see a little menu. Where are my kids and are they where they're supposed to be? Janae was not. Okay, so I can click duplicate right here. And what that allows me to do is, and I can repeat the process as many times as I want, is that I can put a pair of kids here and a pair of kids here, and as many times as I have pairs of kids, I can duplicate that frame. But I'm going to also go ahead and delete it because I did it one too many times. Okay, so that takes care of how to do a real simple inside of Jamboard.
Oh, no. Here we go.
There we go.
Okay, so now I'm going to show you how we can create a math example. Basically kind of like the same thing that we had before, but I might do things a little bit differently. People know that I like to get pretty creative. And when it comes to the Jamboards, they only give you a certain amount of backgrounds. You see, you only have like 6, a blank one. But look at this. You can actually create and insert your own background. So that's what I'm going to do. I created my background in PowerPoint, and I'm just going to...
Okay, I gotta laugh because I got a little notification that my computer was almost dead, so I had to plug it in.
Are we still recording?
Yes, we are still recording.
Okay.
We're gonna... Oh, dang.
So I'm just going to pull in my background. And it's going to take a little time. But if you notice, I made all of this in PowerPoint, including the different colors and the different places where I want to put my tables. I like to also have creative different type of fonts. And when you come in here in Jamboard to create any type of wording, you only have a certain amount of fonts. So to create something a little bit more with it, I actually created my fonts in PowerPoint as well. And if you create in PowerPoint and then right click and save it as an image, it will come through with that transparent background, which is really cool. So I have my title, and I want to insert, I have some tables that I want to bring in. And I'm just going to increase this to where my tables.
Oh, that's kind of cool how they're all linked together.
You like that?
I do.
I try to save me a little bit of time and stuff. You can do all this in PowerPoint and just drag it out what you need, which is really cool. And then I'm inserting a place to where the students, when they get to use Equatio, they'll be able to actually put their equations under the graph. The thing about Equatio is the graphs come in a little bit, they come in transparent, so I add this so that way we can actually see the answers.
Yay.
I'm going to insert a quick sticky note with the directions.
Cool. And will you show us a little bit about Equatio? Because Equatio is new to Jamboard, and I bet you have math teachers are really interested in it, and I bet you science teachers too, because Equatio is good for science too, right?
Yes, they're not only math equations, but also science equations, which is really cool.
Yippee skippy.
Okay. And then, now I'm going to show you a little trick. Sometimes when you put kids on your stuff, they get to moving things around. They want to trick the next students and move it up and down. So instead of leaving your background like this, what we can do is you go up to the 3 dots that is next to the share button, and it's in the upper right hand top corner of your computer. You click those 3 dots and we're going to click Save Frame as Image. And I'm just going to quickly save it to my desktop. Quickly, there we go. Here we go. And then when I'm back in my frame, I'm going to clear frame. I'm going to set background. I'm going to choose the one where I can insert an image again. And now I'm going to actually choose desktop, save it. And I'm going to choose my image, which is this one. Drag it in. And look, it's set. And so now the students can't move anything. There's one more thing that I want to insert because it's super cool. You really want as much engagement on your slides as possible. So I'm going to insert a GIF that I made. Can you guess where I made it at?
PowerPoint.
Yeah.
You've done everything else in PowerPoint. Why not make the GIF in PowerPoint?
Why not? But you can also make a GIF in Adobe Spark. You can even make it in WeVideo, and that's the tool that I chose first. And then we'll just put that right in there. And then this would be our math example for the students.
Yeah,
now for Equatio, really quick.
Quick question before you do that. That doesn't look like you did a screen share. That looks like you actually recorded your fingers on that in an actual calculator. Am I right?
Yes, that's exactly what I did.
So you did a document camera, and in our district we use hover cams, and recorded that, and then put that up in WeVideo, and bam, you got yourself a GIF. Awesome.
Yes,
okay,
I
so
put it all in WeVideo.
Equatio. I know we have people waiting for that.
Okay, so really quick, in order to Equatio is an extension, and it's going to be up on that right-hand corner again, and it's a little blue diamond. Equatio will pop up in the bottom once you click that diamond. There we go. And we're just going to insert an equation. So they would hit equation editor. They can type in like my equation is negative 2x plus 7. Oh, that's not good. And then we're going to hit copy. From there, you're going to copy it as an image. Hit OK. And then when you X out of here.
Hey, Janae, is your computer running low on battery, or is that just me?
Yeah, did you notice that?
Yeah, I'm like, I don't know whose thing's running out of battery. Oh yeah, you're critical.
It's mine.
Okay, so if we lose Janae, we're gonna let her come back in a second when she plugs that little sucker in, but we're gonna let her finish this one.
I don't know where my little equation went. Oh, that's right. It's because I forgot to hit Control V. Duh.
Oh yeah,
so
Control
when I hit
C.
Control V, there it goes. It comes right in.
Okay, that is super awesome. Okay, I see your computer's flashing, so I'm gonna go ahead and pick up where you left off, and you go find yourself a core.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to screen share. And hopefully we don't lose Miss Janae. So here we go. And if she does, we'll pop her back in. Look, she's like this empty person over here now. Okay, so I'm going to show you how you can create a manipulative. Now, there's lots of manipulatives out there. Hold on. Slide 7, frame 7. And I'm going to insert something real quick. So what you're looking at here is something that is doesn't look very interesting right now, but actually it has something really important that you can build right into that, and that is ability to hide things in the screen. And when I look on the screen and I'm clicking around, there's not much to it, but there are things that are hidden in here, and these little treasures are rocks. So you can have things buried in here and have your students bring them in, and then have your kids pick out where they need to go, in which little place they need to go. And we did lose Miss Janae, so when she pops back in, we're going to bring her back in. So these hidden objects are what I'm going to show you how to create. So to start with that process, and I guess I'm all by myself for a few minutes, but we'll see what it is. Okay, so I'm going to, hey, speaking of which, isn't this the world of technology right now? So the process to create this actually began in PowerPoint. And I had in my brain this idea of what does this need to look like for students to be able to do what I want it to do. So I had this image in my mind. I couldn't find it on the internet. So instead I found 4 different images, and using the tools within PowerPoint, I kind of meshed them all together. From there, I added layers on top of it. So each one of these are little images that I've kind of snipped into place. And then from there, I added my little boxes and so on. So let me show you how I did that. So once I've created my frame from here, I want to be able to save it as a PNG. So you can go to File, and then you're going to click on Save As. And I am going to click on this little down arrow right here and pick PNG and click Save. So I want to actually change the name of this, and this is my background. And save. So the next thing that's going to pop up, which slides do you want to save? I want to do just this one, not the whole thing, because it's kind of a long PowerPoint. And I'm going to jump back into our Jamboard. And once we're in the Jamboard, so let me go to our blank one. Now I have a choice. I can bring it in as an image, but remember, when I bring it as an image, my kids can move it, and I don't want them to move this particular part. This is the flat layer. I want it to be stuck. And there she is. She's back. Yay! Okay, lost track of my thought. Okay, so I'm actually going to do...
sorry, Tammy. It's been plugged in all day, and I'm like, why would you run out of juice?
You lost juice. That's okay, but that's okay. I just kept going wherever we left off, so we're good. Thank you for coming back, though, not leaving me by myself.
Oh, no problem.
Okay, so now I'm going to add my background. So I was just showing them how to create the objects where you can hide objects in your screen.
Yeah.
So I'm going to upload and click Browse. And I saved this on my desktop, so I'm going to find my little guy right here. Scroll down, there he is. Click Open. And as fast as the internet's going right now, there it is. Awesome. So this is my first layer, and it's fixed. Now the next thing that I'm going to want to bring in is the little things I'm going to hide in these little boxes that are already preset. So I go back to whatever drawing tool that you want to use. It doesn't really matter as long as you can save an image. I just so happen to build it in here. It's not a big deal. So once again, I do my file save as, and I'm going to change this into PNG, choose this one slide, and I've already done this in advance because, as you saw, I've already imported it. So let me go ahead and just bring them in. This time I'm not going to do it as a background. I'm actually going to do it as an image, not a Google image, and upload. So let me go ahead and click this in here. There we go. And I'm just going to grab this one right here. Click OK. There we go. I'm back. Okay, it takes a moment to come in. It's busy thinking. Okay, now the cool thing about GIFs is that you and your students, when you're in a Jamboard, can resize them. So when students come in and they're not really sure what it is, they can make it bigger. Oh, okay, that's what that is. But I want to have it kind of small because I am going to go throw that right here inside that box. Now I'll repeat the process for each one of these, and I'm pretty sure you don't want to watch me do all of them, so let's just imagine that I did. And my next step is to create the layer over top of this where I hide all of that. So let's do that now. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to where my where my PowerPoint is. Now, what I'm going to show you next is magical. If you're using, yes, it really is. If you're using a Windows device, you have this beautiful tool that's not new. And some of you, as soon as you see me write the words in the bottom left in the search, S, N, yeah, we all know what I'm typing. Yes, it's like a godsend, isn't it? So I'm going to click the snipping tool. All right, now I'm actually not on the right slide, so I'm going to click on the right slide right here. And what I'm doing, and I'll make this a little bigger so it's easy for me to do, is I am going to use this as a guide for this. So let me grab my snipping tool and new. Now the area that I'm going to cover up is right here, and I can see that right here. So I got to match up what I'm going to cover. So I want to be slightly bigger. Now if I look, I am just to the hill peak right here. So that is approximately there and there. Let's see how good I am at this. And it looks like it ends, give or take, right there. Okay.
It's like you're making a puzzle.
It is. So if you like puzzles, this is going to be your jam. And it comes up. And all I have to do at this point is save this little guy. So save. Come on. Come on, little computer. I'm making it work extra hard today. And there it is. And I'm going to put it where I want it in the desktop, in my jam right here. And this one will be okay. Now I don't need that for now, so I'm going to just minimize it, and I'm going to repeat that process over and over. And what I'm going to do now is go back here, and I'm going to insert the picture again. Once again, an upload. And I'm going to find my rock. It's right here. This is one of us. No, actually I'm not. Check in there. I'm looking for my area. This is it. Okay, again, it comes in. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to cover this up. So I'm going to resize it.
That's cool.
It is. And you can see that I am going to line it up to the best of my ability. I think I'm still a little bit too big.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay, let's find out the true test. Oh, I can't believe I did it the first shot. No, it doesn't look like there's anything there. And how cool is that? So basically you're creating a scavenger hunt. Now you can put a little GIF with directions. So I actually have that already made from my previous slide. So using PowerPoint, I created a GIF. And again, you can make your GIF with your directions in anything that you want. So I'm just going to put that in the bottom corner, and I have it right here. Oh, no, that's not it. That's actually the tool that I used to make it. Directions, there it is. And at that point, my manipulative, in this case a digital breakout or scavenger hunt, is all ready to go. And its the final version of what it will look like is what I initially showed you. So I'm going to go ahead and click X right here because it's taking a little longer than I would like. It's coming in. But its final product, which way? I'm going the wrong way. Its final product will look like this with all of the hidden little guys in there.
That's cool.
Isn't it though? That's awesome.
Yeah, I like that.
Okay, so we've given you an example for language arts, an example for math, an example for science, an example for social studies. So I realize that's not all of the content areas that are out there. So if you're looking for even more ideas, let me give you a few suggestions. There is the internet where you can just Google Jamboard templates because there's a zillion of them out there. YouTube is also a good spot, and as is Twitter, believe it or not. So I have bookmarked a bunch of Jamboards that have come across my feed because people share their templates, they share their pictures, they share their ideas. There is a ton of them out there. So as you can see, I have a bunch of them. shared. But one lady that I want to really point out to you is Julia's Steaming Up Jamboards. She's amazing and she's worth following. She has so many Jamboard templates that she shares, and it's really, really cool. Yes. Now, there was one lady that I wanted to show you, this lady right here. I thought when I saw that this was a cool idea. Now, she's not in our district, but I'm not sure where she's from, but she's not in our area at all. But I thought this was cool. What a great way to get kids to kind of loosen up and warm up and start talking to each other. Because if you can get kids to start talking to each other, then maybe they'll start talking about content with each other. Yes. So what's one invention you would uninvent? What? Oh yeah, there's a lot. Okay, what would you uninvent, Janae? What would you do?
I've been looking at that social media because that's been causing some problems lately.
Yes. Okay, so you know what time it is?
I'm assuming it's time first set attendant and then time to create, huh?
Yeah, so hold on. Let me get that for you. I was not totally prepared. We are session 2. Okay, so guys, don't leave us right now. The attendance verification is not even going to be open until 45 after the hour. So at 9:45 it'll be open. But we do want you to copy this down on a notepad or copy and paste it on an electronic document, whatever it is you're using. It's going to go in the chat right now. So I'm going to also ask you to pause in the chat just for a few minutes. Don't do anything else in the chat because Katrina is working in her background right now. She's going to paste this in the chat, copy and paste it somewhere else so that you have it. But stay with us for the next few minutes so that we can work with you and show you some other really cool things because I think you're going to like them, including jumping on our Jamboard. So in just a moment, we are going to get you on this Jamboard.
Okay, so we're going to try to pause and see if Tammy can come in live here because she wanted to show y'all something that wasn't pre-recorded. So just bear with us for a second and we'll see if we can get her in here live. Let's see if this works.
Hi, you shut the video off just a hair short.
Oh, okay. Do you want me to go back and play it some more?
I'm worried that I'm going to run out of juice.
Well, it's your call. Just let me know if you want me to go back to the video.
Yeah, go ahead and go back to the video for just a couple minutes.
Okay. Sorry guys, for some reason my laptop is not letting me share the movie again, so let me try this another way.
Okay, I think that we've given them enough time to do that. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Yes, and so what do we have here?
So this is how we're actually going to get all of you onto our Jamboard. So we created a Google drawing so we can...
No, you're good. Yeah. Yes, it is a Google drawing.
We created a Google drawing, and if you notice, we have all the different contents. But I want to share this with y'all because I want you all to be able to get into our Jamboard. So I'm going to go back to the Jamboard, and I'm already on the slide where I would like the elementary reading, language arts, and social study teachers to come onto together. So each slide has its own little unique, I wish there's a way that I could, I'm gonna scroll, there it goes, I'm gonna scroll over. Each of these slides has a unique code. And we see up at the top in the web address, it has an 8 at the end. But if you look at the slide, I'm actually on slide 9. So
frame.
oh, thanks, Tammy. I'm on frame 9, okay? The cool thing about that is if I was to actually go back to frame 1, you would see that its special code is actually 0. Let's see if I can get there without being, one more. There we go. So when I'm on frame 1, that code actually ends with the 0. So that's really cool. So you can share a frame with your students. That's where they would start. But then keep in mind, like Tammy said before, we can only have 50 on their total. So let's get back to it. I'm gonna go grab that special code.
So if you can't get onto our frame just now because there's too many people jumping on, that's okay. Feel free to jump on later. We're not going to change the code. It's going to be up all day, and you can come check it out anytime today.
Cool. Okay.
Okay, as you are coming in, we can see that you're popping in. Did we share the bit.ly for it? Okay, I'm going to go ahead and paste the bit.ly so you guys can get in. Okay, as you come in, we can see that you're all popping in. Please remember that only 50 people can pop in. So right now we have a lot of math people on here today. Yay. And so I can just browse around to see where you're going. And as I click through, I can see that nobody's on the first slides yet, but they're all landing on these slides right here. And as you come in, feel free to add information on those slides. So I want to take a moment to show you what it looks like when your students are popping in and how they're popping in. And you can see that as students are adding information, you can see it live, which makes it kind of a good tool for evaluating students in what they're doing and kind of monitoring. So Amanda, I'm going to give this back to you so you can go ahead and continue the video.
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and start the video back up. Just remember, if you have questions, I've seen both Tammy and Janae in the chat, so make sure you put questions in the YouTube chat.
And I don't think you have enough extensions there, Janae.
Not at all. So, I wish I could pull this out, but that's okay. I'm going to just Control V, copy this. I'm going to go back to our drawing. The cool thing about this is, remember, if you link to just the letters, if the students click the box, it would make it harder for them to get to that location. So I'm going to make sure I click the box, and then I want to go up to the top where it says insert link. I'm going to control, whoa, see, Tammy, you didn't catch it. I'm doing elementary language arts first.
Oh. No, I wasn't, sorry, I wasn't paying attention. I assumed you had all this. I'm glad
I'm going to hit apply.
Yeah, I'm glad you caught it. They'll be all in the wrong slide.
I know, right?
Frame.
And then I'm going to go back to our Jamboard. I'm going to go to frame 10. Grab that unique code, Control C. And now I'm going to go to elementary science math, link, Control V, and apply.
There we go.
So now when you all go to this bit.ly that we have right here, bit.ly/CFISD
you can check them all out. Now, while Janae was busy doing those two, I was actually busy doing the other 5. So all of them are now active. You can click on them right now and join us right now in our jam. And we want to see what you're up to when you're doing that. Okay, as we've given you a few minutes to explore, we're going to take the time now to show you how to share your Jamboards with your students. So let's show you how to do that. And I need to share my screen.
That's the most important part, huh, Tammy?
Yes, you've created all this and now, oh, what am I going to do with it? Not going to do anything with it. Oh, think I have enough stuff open? All right, so going back to our Jamboard and sharing ideas with you on how to share it with your kiddos. Hold on, where are we? Did I miss it?
Right there.
No, I think it's jumping on me again. There it is. Okay. So one way that you could have is just have your kids all land in your Jamboard and they got to figure out which slide that they're going to. And in order for you to just share your Jamboard out, you just simply need to click the share button. Odds are your kids don't have emails that you can add their names in. Even in our district, that's not advisable for you to type in 175 kids in here, just saying.
Okay.
Yeah, no, that's not your best bet. Instead, you're going to want to do this. You're going to want to click change and the down arrow, and you're going to want to change this to anyone with a link. Now, it defaults as viewer, which means they can look, but they can't do. You want them to be able to do stuff. So you make editors. Now, word of caution, you can't see work history of kids in Jamboard, which is different than like Google Slides.
Didn't know that.
Yes, so it's important before you let your kids loose in this manner that you know that your kids are going to be doing what they need to be doing. Well, we showed you can monitor where they're on. You don't necessarily know what they're doing. So it's important that you know when you use this method that you have taught your kids well digital citizenship so they know not to mess up each other's stuff and that they're working in a way that's appropriate. So what they can do at this point is once they get the share link, they all land right in here and they just put their name in their little box so that they can, well, if I could click on it, come on, oh, there we go. Okay, yes, I'm going to click a different color because yellow doesn't like me. They can put their name in here and ask them not to change the color for this. And the reason why is that later you can resort your kids into their groups so that as a jigsaw, you have your yellow group learn something very specific and your orange and your pink and your blue and your gray or whatever. And then you can regroup them so they're now in jigsaws. And this allows you to, let me straighten this guy out because it's just bothering me. And this allows you to jigsaw your kids so your yellow group can share with the pink, blue, orange, oh man, I'm struggling with my colors right now, and gray. And you can move them over into their groups. That's one way. Another way that we have for you to be able to share with your students is for you to have a template, and we're going to recommend Google Drawing because Google Drawing can be embedded into other places and it can be editable with your kids. Using the same format where you share with anyone with a link, your kids will then click on here and then they're going to click here to go to their task, and you're going to link it the same way that Janae showed you how to do this. So you grab the little addresses of every single frame and you will put them on their little buttons. Now, the third way that you could share is maybe you want your kids to be working in small groups on separate jams. So you make a template, you share it with one kid, and that kid shares it with the rest of the group. So we created a template for that as well. So you're going to force a copy right here. So let me show you how to do that. Going back into our Google Jamboard, you are going to right here, oops, I got to check in with where I am. You are going to go up right here, and do you see where the words, the slash viewer and all that other information behind it? You are simply going to go behind this and type the word copy. And that right there, Control C, will allow you to then take it to your template. You're going to paste it on this little button right here. Come on. And you can right click on it or click on the link button up here, either or works. And you can see when I scroll down, I have a link option right here. And you can paste that in there, and you have Control V, and that forces every kid that clicks on that link to get a copy of that. So they get their own copy. Now the next step is that your captains that click that link will then share it with their group. Their group has their names underneath it, and they go there. Now here's the important part. You as a teacher also need to click on those shared links so you know what your kids are up to, because you don't necessarily want them to create stuff out there and not know what they're doing out there. You also want to add yourself to that. Okay, so we've showed them how you can use templates. Now, how do we get this to kids?
So the way we can get that to kids, Tammy, is that I know for us, SciFair, and a lot of you all out there are using some sort of LMS or learning management system. In SciFair, we actually use Schoology. So that is how we can actually share that with the kids. A page was created. And when you want the kids to actually click on a link, then yes, it's great to embed it. Because from an embedding, I can click and it will take me to where I need to go. It just should take me to that frame. However, if you're trying to do like what Tammy just showed you, where the kids can create their groups, in this case, you do not want to embed, because as you can see, I can't click here.
Yeah, you can't enter your name, so that kind of defeats the purpose.
Exactly, Tammy. But guess what? We have something for that. That's when you can actually just create the link, and that would take you to that drawing that you had. And when we get there, there it is, it's coming up. Now from here, this is where your students can actually go in and type in their names.
Yay! Okay, can you show us quickly how to embed? I'm not sure that everybody knows how to embed a document, so that would be a good one.
Sure.
Now remember, when you're embedding, it should be a click and go document where kids don't edit, because otherwise I could see kids clicking those buttons and not adding their names underneath. So if you need them to edit the document, it should just be shared as a link. Did you freeze, Janae? I think she froze. Yep, she looks frozen. All right, I'm taking over. Taking it away. Okay, so let's go back to Schoology. Are you back?
You mind?
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and just pick up where we left off. So I'm going to edit this page. And when I'm editing the page, I can click down where I want to embed it. So I'm actually working on the same document I was working on. So I'm going to click enter a couple times and scroll up so you can actually see my screen properly. And up here it says insert content. So you will need to connect your drive before you do this. So I have Google Drive Resource App. I'm going to click on it and it will pop up. And the thing with Google Drive, it's not organized in Schoology by alphabetical order. It's organized by what came in last. So your newest stuff is always on top. That may or may not be a disadvantage. So if it's not something you recently created, you can just search for it right here. So I have the EdTech Live Jamboard right here. Oops, I didn't mean to click on it. So it's going to give me a preview if I do that. And what I'm going to do is line it up, this one right here. And I want to embed, import embed. That's what I click on. Okay, there it is. I can resize now to whatever size that I want and click Save Changes, and booyah, it's in there. So the last thing that I want to show with you or share with you is the last thing that's on this deck that we're going to share with you, or this template that we're going to share with you, is that when you get this or get on it, you will see the last slide right here. It says get your own copy. That's for you to get a copy of this. It's also going to be in the chat in just a few minutes once we're wrapping up, so you can get your own copy. I also want to share with you the information for the Julia Steamboard Jamboards. Here's her link to her site, and this is her information for her on Twitter. In addition to that, Ditch That Textbook, Chris Shiner wrote a information that you might find interesting on Jamboard. I thought I'd share that as well. And here's your templates that we shared with you earlier. If you want students to work on the same document, here's your template. Feel free to edit that how you want. You're getting a copy, so when you click on this, you can actually copy this entire link and right click on it, and you're going to go to that and it will make a copy for you. So this copy right here is yours. And same thing with students working in groups on a different set of document. That's your template right there. So we've shared everything that we've made with you today, and we are so happy that you've been here with us today. Can't thank you enough for giving up your Monday with us today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello.
So one, that was awesome. Y'all, Jamboard is so cool. There's so much that goes into it and you can do with it. And really excited to start using that more, because it's like, and I kind of giggled every time that Tammy and Janae were like, slides, no, frames. Because we're so used to calling everything a slide. It's like, it's on slide 5. No, frame 5, frame.
Well, I think it's also the orientation.
Yes.
Because it still looks like a slide type layout. So that's a mental thing that we're working on.
Exactly. Okay, so because I apologized, my power decided to like bloop, and that means my internet went down for a few minutes. So the EdTech team, y'all, we are working behind the scenes when any one of us decides to push out for a few minutes. But because of that, it is 11:03, so we kind of decided just to kind of skip a little ahead to catch up on time, because we value y'all's time, and I know that we want you guys like to have time today. So we are actually going to kind of jump ahead to our next session, and we actually have Zach Johnson, who is joining us, and he's going to show us some really great features in Cami. Now, here's the thing about Zach. He's not in the US with us. He's actually in tomorrow already. So
and live.
Yeah, and live. So excited. So if you can guess where Zach is, because he's in the future. I feel like it's like Marty and Dr. Help me out here, Amanda.
McFly? No, Marty McFly. I don't know. They had gigawatts and pieces of machinery that don't exist. So that's what I got. And they messed with the DeLorean.
I mean, we got the Marty part right. Okay.
I'm sure someone in the chat will let us know.
Fingers crossed, please.
I know.
Okay, so Zach, if you want to go ahead and join us, we're really excited to learn more about Cami. And because in Sci-Fair ISD, we do use Schoology, Zach is actually going to show us how Cami can work within Schoology. I know, it's like,
Very nice.
I love it. I love it. So, Zach, if you want to go ahead and turn on your, oh, there you are. Whenever you're ready, go ahead and take it away. It's all you.
Alrighty, so it is a very early good morning from me. So as mentioned, I'm Zach. I'm one of the Cami Senior Customer Success Representatives, and I am indeed joining you from quite a bit far away, all the way out in wonderful Auckland, New Zealand. And I will be happily showing off some of the wonderful features Cami offers and how it can be used both for teachers to help make the documents a bit more interactive for the students, and how we can give the students all the options we might want for completing their work. So the way that I'm going to be running this is a slight change from the original plan, just because I had a brainwave at about 5 o'clock this morning, which is I'll be showing off kind of quickly at the start how we can actually modify the documents with Cami through Google Drive for the teachers. I'll then be attaching that file to a Schoology assignment, pushing that out to the students, showing how it will look for them, annotating it and using the tools to start adding their answers, and then covering our grading integration, and if I've got time, one of our document preparation tools, but otherwise I will just happily answer as many questions as possible. So let me just make sure I have the last file I need in the background up and running, which we do. So I will share my screen here. And just while I'm setting that up, I will just kind of give the brief overview. Cami is a PDF and document annotation tool, so we can use it to start marking up and editing PDFs to help our students, either by adding things like audio and video comments, extra instructions or assignments for them, or by giving them all the options and accommodations they might need for completing their work. So I am currently in my Google Drive for my teacher account here. Now, the first thing that we do want to make sure of is that we have the Cami extension installed. So I will just quickly show that cami.app/extension, that takes us through to the Chrome Web Store page. So we just hit add to Chrome here to set that up, and we're good to get started. Now, in this case, I'm going back to my Google Drive here. So we can see I'm in my demo template assignments. I'm going to right click on the Edtech demo here, go open with, annotate with Cami. I can just see I've got a quick message in the chat here. I'll actually just use this to quickly add the link here, and if somebody would not mind dropping that into the YouTube live chat, I can happily get that set up. But now that we are in Cami here, we can see we have our demo file loaded up. I have already started annotating this file. So I have my little comment here with a YouTube video linked for our students to watch, so they can just hit play to start watching that. And as we scroll down, this is a file I have kind of clutched together from two different documents using the split and merge tool I'll be covering at the end. So we have some short close reading exercises. We have some math exercises here. We have a blank page I've added in with some custom made questions using our text box tool here. And we then have a slightly more advanced close reading exercise for our Scala IBIS file at the bottom. So as the teacher, if we wanted to, we could go in and start adding annotations for our students to give them some extra instructions. So in this case, I'm actually going to use one of our advanced comment tools, the voice comment here, scroll back up to the top of the document, click to add this in, and it's now recording the audio through my microphone, so I can use this to tell my students, for example, as they're reading through, I want them to highlight any important parts. So maybe we want them to highlight, say, the names of any characters, any actions that they're taking, and how we kind of want them to lay out their answers in the document. So we'll leave that recording on the document here for them. We could go through and add in some of the other comments. So we've got video comments. So if we wanted to use this to give that same vocal or verbal instruction to our students and have that face-to-face interaction with them, we can. So hello again, everyone. So we can start this off, start recording that, And this also helps if you've maybe got a whiteboard or something similar in the classroom you wanted to give a demonstration or example question walkthrough on. We can aim the camera at the whiteboard, save that onto the document once we're finished recording, and we can see we've got 20 minutes worth of recording time here, so we can easily do a much longer explanation as needed, or even an entire chunk of the lesson can be recorded for our students. So we'll add in our comments here. Maybe I want to give my students an example markup, so I'll go to our text highlighter here, select one of the colors, and we'll just highlight the first name here, so the student has an idea of how we want that to look. As we scroll down, we can see we've got some extra questions here. So these ones were added in using the text box tool. So I can just click to create that on the page. So in this case, I'll add our extra question of why has, I believe it's Riley, crouched down. Add in our question here. As we scroll through, we can see we've got a few extra questions to work with. And I've got a screen capture comment here. So that's the last and kind of most advanced and the CS team favorite of our capture comments. So using this, we can actually record our screen as we're working and annotating the document. So in this case, if I just quickly switch my audio settings over so that you can hear this all right, and then load it up a bit. All right, students. So for question 8 here, where it's asking us to check whether these fractions are equal, what I would like you to do is convert each answer over so that they have the same denominator. So the first way we can show this is using our drawing tool. So 3 over 4. To turn that into 4 or 8, to turn that into 8, so we would multiply it by 2 to get our 6 over 8. So that's just kind of a nice simple walkthrough of how we want our students to approach question 8 here, saved onto the document and ready for them to start working with it. Just switch my audio back over there. So while we're annotating this, we can make sure our students have all the instructions we want them to have. So further down here, I've got a blank page that's actually been added in. So adding in the blank pages is as simple as going to the bottom of the document here, clicking the Add More Pages button. In this case, I want to add in a lined page, but we also have options for our blank page here, a grid paper page, which works nicely for our maths or graphing assignments. And the last one we have here is our music sheet paper, which is one of the, I'll just restart the sentence, which is there because we have music notes available under the equation tool. So we have got that option as well. But in this case, I'm going to add a lined page so my students have some extra space for their notes at the bottom of the document. So we can see we have our lined paper page added. We have our reading exercises here. We have our automatically, so Cami will save them every 3 minutes. We can also hit save now if we want to make sure that they're saved if we have any outstanding. And now that our demo file is all set up and ready to go, we can go to our Cami test course here. So in my Schoology, go to Add Materials, Add Assignment. So we can see we have our Cami demo assignment. We'll call this 1 EE for our very early morning one. We can add any instructions we want to into the description here, same as we would for a regular Schoology assignment. But the part we're particularly interested in is under the Assign from App options. We can see because we have the Kami extension installed, we'll get this wonderful Kami option here. Selecting this will allow us to select and assign a file from our Google Drive. Or in this case, I'm assigning it from my Google Drive, but we have recently released support for loading files from OneDrive. So if you're using that as a file organizer, you can load files as well. So we want our Edtech demo final. We hit select. That's going to process and add the file. So we can see that's now been created, and this will create a copy of the file for each student. So every student gets an individual file that they're going to annotate and turn in for us. We can then set any of the other options we need to for our assignment. So in this case, I'll put it under the ELA category. Everything looks correctly set up, so we hit create. As we scroll down, we should see our Kami demo assignment at the bottom here. So just quickly opening that up to show how it should look on the teacher side. We've got the open button here that we can use to preview the file in Kami, and our user submissions here as normal. So if I now quickly switch over to my student side here and refresh the page, what we should now see is our Kami demo assignment loaded at the bottom. And I will just clarify that the students do need to have the Kami Chrome extension installed onto their devices as well, as that is needed to give them the open assignment button here. But we can see that we hit open assignment with Kami. It's going to import the assignment into our student's Google Drive. So we can see it's now in the Kami Schoology assignments folder. This will be created automatically if it's the first assignment that you're pushing out for the students. And we can see we've created their individual copies with the student's first and last name at the front, so we can identify whose work it is. And as we can see, all of the annotations that I have added onto the template file have synced over onto my student's copy. So any annotations we make, the students will see on their individual file. They're then able to listen to our audio comments, watch through any video or screen capture comments we've added. And then once we're on the document, the students are ready to get started on working with it. So a couple of the tools we've got just to help them navigate through include the dictionary. So we can just click on a word to easily get the Oxford English Dictionary definition of it. So for a reading exercise like this one, the students can easily look up something they might not have seen before. We have got the text-to-speech tool, which allows the students to read the document aloud to themselves if they will find that easier than reading it manually, or if that's an accommodation you need to offer, we have that available here. Once that's set up and the students are good working through it, they can start using any of the tools here to add in their annotations. So the first one I want to show off here is the text comment. So this is kind of the simplest one for adding answers into the margin here. So I can just add in our comment. So in this case, I could just type out the answer. But the particular reason I'm highlighting this is that for both the text comments, the replies we can add to them once it's been created, and for the text boxes, we do have voice typing available. So anything I say will now be transcribed into the comment box. So if you have got students who will find giving a verbal answer easier, but still need to get the text down on the page, we can accommodate them, and they can use the audio comments to give a fully verbal answer as well. And as we can see, we do have the same tools available to the students as we had for the teachers. So if the students wanted to, they could actually use the screen capture comment to record themselves going through the question and highlight their entire workflow for us. Now, unfortunately, I can't demonstrate recording one of these because the Chromebook I'm on will drop the Zoom call screen sharing if I try. But we've got our comment tools for adding answers into the margins here. We have the text box tool available if we want to add our text directly onto the page. So clicking to create that here, I can add in my answer. So yes, I would. And once we've started creating our text box here, we can see we have this text box toolbar at the top of the page. This has all of the formatting options that we might want for customizing our text. So we've got the font type, font size, and line spacing. We have the text emphasis, color, and highlighting options. One that we do like to draw attention to is the ability to change the text box background color. So in this case, I've changed it to match the color the question's written in, but maybe you want the students to match it to the color they've used for markup if they're highlighting sections of the text relevant to the answer. We do have our subscript and superscript options, our numbered lists, bullet points, and the indenting options for those as well. We can change the line alignment, add in hyperlinks into the text boxes if we have a YouTube video or maybe an article we want the students to read before they get started. We have our formula option here, which I will actually jump back to in a moment, as that is a subset of the equation tool. So those are kind of nicely shown off together. We have our emojis available, as we know that some teachers do like to use these when grading, but this is a feature the Kami support team can switch off for individual accounts or for the entire domain if you do find you've got students who are just playing around with them rather than completing their work. We have the reset formatting option to quickly set everything back to normal in the text box if we've made a lot of customizations and want to just reset it. And as mentioned, we do have voice typing available in the text boxes as well. And lastly, we can rotate the text box around, so we can easily title, say, the axes on a graph, or just have our text going vertically if that's what we want for the assignment. Alrighty. Now, if I scroll down to question 8 here, the next tool we want to show off is the equation tool. So this one's designed to try and help make typing out math, or in some cases scientific answers, a lot easier than just having to maybe draw them if you don't have access to a touchscreen device. So clicking to create our equation box here, we'll add that in the same as the text box. We get our insert symbols palette here, which we can see gives us all of the standard mathematical symbols we might want to use. And as mentioned, we do have music notes in here to go with the music paper blank page option. So in this case, I'm just going to use our fraction tool here to type out the same conversion I did in the screen capture. So we get our 3 over 4, add in the equals, we get our fraction again. So we want 3, we want to multiply it by 2, same again, 4 multiplied by 2, so we can convert it over so it has the same denominator, which means we get our 6. And we have actually got some shortcut keys for the equation tool. So the slash key on the keyboard will add the fraction in for us. So I can easily drop that in. And now I want to use our does not equals for the 4 over 8. So we know A is not the correct answer here. So we'd go through, figure out the two that would be plotted in the same location, which in this case will be B. And I'll use the shape tool here just to quickly circle it as our answer. So we could go through, add those in. And the equation tool also works nicely just as well for the math formula here as it does for algebra, or the example I'll use here, which is the chemical equations. So if I just quickly drop in our subscript, plus 2O, subscript again, and these ones highlighted in green are just the items or symbols we've used last, so we can quickly reaccess those. I'll use our 2 arrow here to get our 2CO, and the shortcut for the subscript is the underscore key, 2. So we can use that to easily type out our working. So we've got our simple fraction problem here, we've got our chemical reaction here. The one limitation to the equation tool, which the formula tool is designed to cover, is that we only have a single line of working available for each equation box. But that's where we'll jump back to the text box tool, as the formula tool can help kind of cover that issue. So if we scroll down here, we have our example velocity question. So clicking to create the text box, I can add that in, and then selecting our formula tool adds an equation box inside of the text box with the symbol palette here. So we have all the same symbols we have for the equation tool. So we know our formula we want is our velocity equals distance fraction time. I can exit the formula box by double tapping the right arrow key, dropping down again, remaking it on our new row. We get V equals, scroll just to show the question. So we've got 1 meter as our distance and 2 seconds for our time. So we get our 1m / key to S. Dropping down one more line, formula tool, V equals 0.5 meters per second, shift 6 for our exponent to the -1. And we can see we now have all of our working for that question organized in a single text box, but we've still been able to use the equation symbols to show off kind of a far more advanced question. Apologies if I am stumbling over my words. As mentioned, it is about 6 o'clock in the morning here. So we can use that for our math working. It's quite easy. Now the next tool I want to show off is under the Add Media options here. So the reason I'm jumping into here is to show that we can add in images from our computer, Google Drive, or if we don't have an example to hand, we can Google image search for one. So we can see we've got this example here using the space above, create/graph the following lines. So if I'm right, I should have a graph set up in my drive here. Okay, that's not loaded for some reason, but that does happily let me show the Google image search off. And I know that we do get a lot of questions about it. So the Google image search does have safe search enabled automatically. So in this case, we will go graph. We will find this graphing image here. I can drop that in. So we can see we now have our graph image here. We've got our little boxes. And then under the shapes tool, I might use the insert line tool. Go through, we know our x equals 2. So we want to draw in our line here. Y equals 3, so 1, 2, 3. And then our y equals x plus 2. So we want our y equals 0 here. Can draw that line out, and then I can use the select tool at the top here to hover over the line and extend it back down like so. Now, when I was drawing those lines, I was actually holding down the shift key. So clicking and dragging it on its own will just give us the free draw of the line, but holding shift locks it to 22.5-degree increments. So I can actually have used this to draw the axes myself. I'll use the eraser tool here just to clear that up from where I let go of shift too early. So adding this back in, you can see we could also sketch our axes out that way. We also have our triangle, circle, or ellipse and rectangle options. So we can also create those shapes. So I could click and drag with the triangle, for example, to get an isosceles triangle, or holding down shift gives us the right angle triangle. So I could easily add in an example for, say, Pythagoras theorem or trigonometry for a more advanced math question, or as I might do here, I could quickly use this just to sketch out our physics example here. So we have the slope and the ball rolling down it. We scroll through. Once we've got our document nicely marked up, the last one I'll actually show here is under the Add Media tool. We do have the option of, as I showed in Google Drive here, adding in videos. So we could add in one of these screen recordings directly onto the document if we wanted to attach the video ahead of time, or if the student had a video example for us. And we also have the ability to YouTube search for a video example. So if I search Cami here, So if our student had a video that they wanted to use to explain their answer, or again, if we had one to add in ahead of time, I can drop that onto the page here. And we can see it started playing the video automatically there, but we could play that video inside of the document for the students rather than, for example, linking it up in one of the comments. So I think we've got our document nicely marked up. We've got some of our questions answered and ready to go. So once our student has finished their work, we can hit the save button here. We can see it's just auto-saved the changes as mentioned. We could have hit the Save Now button to save them manually. And when we turn it in, it does one last export while it's saving the file. It's now going to decide to take its time while we are uploading this, but we can see we have our uploaded assignment. See, we have the Open in Kami button, or the link that's added here. File is ready to go, so we hit Submit. You can see our assignment has now been submitted, and if I switch back over to my teacher side here, refresh the page once again, we can see we have our new submission in need of grading. So opening it up, we can see we'll originally open up in the Schoology grading viewer here. So we can see the annotations that have been added. But as we can see, it doesn't allow us to view the audio or video comments that have been added. And the reason for that is that the Schoology grading viewer flattens the annotations automatically. So if we do want to view them inside of Kami for our grading to give the students some feedback, we can go to Grade with Kami here, which has also popped up this little window here for the Kami Connect virtual conference, which I'll talk a little bit about at the end. But now that I've opened the file up in that Grade with Kami option, we can see we now have a Kami window in place of the Schoology PDF viewer. So adding that in, I can see all of my students' annotations as they were made inside of Kami. And this also gives me all of the Kami tools to start marking up their document. So I could do something as simple as using the drawing tool here as a red pen to go through, tick off the questions the students answered correctly, mark off any that they haven't. I can also start adding my own comments. So under the student's answer here, I could add a reply. So good answer, but a bit wordy. Add that reply in. We can also add our own comments. So I could use the voice comment or video comment here. So in this case, I might add a voice comment telling the student, good work, but you have missed a number of questions. Was there something that prevented you from answering them? So we can add in those comments, add any other annotations. So one in particular we might want to do is under Add Media, we have the Kami stickers here, which are the wonderful stickers put together by our creatives team. So we have our standard kind of excellent work, good effort, great improvement stickers. And we do have some subject specific ones. So we've got our creative genius, English champ, or my personal favorite, which is the Kami Math Wizard. So those are a nice little thing to add in while grading. Once we've gone through, added any annotations we want to give our student their feedback, we might want to go to the signature tool here. So this allows us to insert an image of our signature to sign off on the document. So if we have a photo or scan of it readily available, we can upload the image directly into Kami. We can draw the signature directly on our device if we're working from, say, a touchscreen or are happy drawing it with the mouse. Or if those first two options don't work for us, but we do have a smartphone or tablet handy that we could draw the signature on, we can use this option here to email a link to that device, draw the signature there and upload it into Kami. But in my case, I'm going to hit draw signature, grab my stylus here, start drawing it out, and I do apologize for my handwriting. Add that in, hit upload, and then we can see we have our new signature at the bottom here. You can click, select insert, click, drop that onto the top of the page, move it around if needed, and we have signed off on our students' work. Once we've got it marked up, we can simply give them their grade. So I'll set this up for an 85, and then we can submit the grade and show it and the comment back to the student as needed. But before I do that, I do have one last little tool to show off that might be useful when grading. So under the toggle sidebar here, we have these two overview options. So the first one here is the thumbnail view, which gives a page-by-page overview of the pages in the document, and the little number in the bottom right is the number of annotations on that page. So this is a good way that we can kind of see where our student might have focused their efforts. And we also have the direct annotation summary. So clicking on this gives me an overview of every annotation in the document. So we get our user that created it, the annotation type, which page it's on, and if we hover over it, as we can see, it gives us the last kind of, or the time that the annotation was created or last annotated. So we can use this to get an idea of when the student started, how long they've been working on it for, or if all of the annotations were just added 20 minutes before it was turned in. Now, as I scroll down, we can see it does give us a different color for the users. So we've got the ones created by the student and the ones created by the teacher. Now, if we have got a document that's been heavily marked up by both users, we can go to the user icons at the bottom here that mark this as a collaborative document, click on one of those users, and it will hide the annotations they created. So now I'm only viewing the ones added by my student. So I can actually click on those in the summary here and jump to their location. I could quickly jump to maybe an audio comment I want to listen to while I'm grading their questions, check in how they've got on, if there's anything that looks out of place, and then we can simply submit the grade for them. Now, one thing I mentioned is that these user icons at the bottom mark it as a collaborative document. What I mean by that is if I go back to my student account and open the file up, I will actually see the annotations directly on that copy in Kami. So what I'll do is jump to my student side here, reopen the assignment. And what we can see here is that we've got our annotations already added by the teacher. And if I actually go into the grading viewer here, just add in our little drawing, as I go back, they will sync over automatically. So this means that the students will get the feedback that you give them on the file as soon as you add it. So we can use that to give them instantaneous feedback. And it also means if there's changes we want them to make, they could actually open the file up here. So I'm now in as my student. So if I add a blue one here, I apologize for the kind of basic drawing. If I now go back to the student or the teacher side, that will sync over automatically. So we'd be able to watch in real time any changes that the students are making, or even use it as a way to collaborate with them. So we could talk them through a question that they might have really struggled on and give them that extra guided feedback. And that pretty much covers everything for the Schoology side. So the one last tool I'll quickly show off under our kind of preparation options here is in the menu at the top, we have this split and merge document option. So I'm processing this document for split and merge. When we hit continue, it loads into the Kami split and merge tool. You can see it's loaded the file I was working on. I also have the option of adding extra files from my Google Drive or the device local storage. When we hit next, you can see we now have a page-by-page overview of the pages in the document here. And split and merge lets us do kind of any customization we want to, from rearranging the pages. If I want to put these math ones to the back of the document instead, you can even reorder them. So we've got some of the questions, or like page 4 going before page 3, or I can even use it to just select the pages I want from the document and drag them down into a new row here to break that out as a separate file. So in this case, we've now got the kind of ELA pages and the math pages. But if you had a textbook that you wanted to just pull a chapter out of for the students to annotate, or if we had a kind of multiple worksheet resource pack and we just wanted, say, 3 of the resources, we could easily split those out, create them as a separate PDF and assign that out from here. And we also have the merge mode available. So with this, I can go into my Add Files button here, go into my Google Drive, select another file that I want. So I'll actually show that I can grab the Google Doc essay here, as well as the Challenge Book 3. So the reason I've grabbed the Google Doc is that Kami does currently only work on PDF format for annotating, but we do have a system in place that can convert the common file types, so Google Docs, Google Slides, Microsoft PowerPoint, and image files, so we can convert those into PDF to start annotating. So in this case, I've now got the Google Doc pages here. If I go back to our split mode, I can select, let's go with 1, 4, and 7. I am holding down Control to multi-select them, drag them up into our file here, grab the essay pages as well, drag all of those in together. We can see I now have a custom resource put together with pages from multiple different resources, all ready and waiting to get started in. Now, one thing I will mention is any annotations we've made on the original file are carried over when we split and merge the pages. So the screen capture recording on our question 8 here is carried over, even though it doesn't appear in the annotation preview here. So we can add those in, customize it, and then when we're ready to go, we can hit the export button, download it to our device, save it back to our Google Drive, or we can open it straight into Kami to continue annotating. And I'll just do that. And just while that's processing, I will mention that this does not affect the original files in any way. So the changes that we are making here are effectively almost like changing a preview window. So we're just seeing what the file would look like once we're done rearranging, adding or deleting pages. And then when we export it, it makes a new copy of every page in the file. So we open this up, we'll get our new copy of the document here. So you can see we have our math pages. We have the essay pages in the center. And we have our challenge book pages ready to start working on. And as shown, the audio comments have carried over. So this file is ready to start being annotated. And then we can easily just assign it out as needed. Now, I think I might be coming up to the end of my time. So I think the best thing I can do now is ask, have we had any questions from the YouTube live stream?
We have. We actually have a few questions for you, Zach, but also before we get to questions, do you have that image with the attendance verification link on it that we can share? There it is. Awesome. So if you guys are joining us, if y'all are seeing this bit.ly right now, go ahead and type in that bit.ly so that you can enter your attendance to get credit for this session. So we're going to leave that up for just a little bit. And we do have about 4-ish questions. And if more come into the YouTube chat, we'll definitely pause to ask them. So if we want to go ahead and do question 1, Amanda, if you want to get started.
Sure. So we had a question come in about the video comments, and that if this teacher pushed them to their students, they had to download it. And if they push straight from Google Drive, the video comments wouldn't stay linked. Have you seen that before or know a way to fix that kind of issue?
I'm just thinking because I haven't seen it directly. So for an issue like that, the best thing to do is if you can try and get either a screen recording or at the very least a screenshot of how those video comments are appearing to the students. And if you can send that through to support@camiapp.com, myself or one of the other CS team members can look into it. And if need be, we can pass it on to the engineering team. So there were some issues where the comments wouldn't render or wouldn't kind of attach properly. But as far as I knew, the sequence of those have been fixed. So the students shouldn't be needing to download them. The one thing I can mention is we are aware that Kami does have a few minor hiccups when it comes to some PDF viewers, in that it will render the video comments as links, as kind of text comment links that the students would need to click to open them up. So the thing I'd recommend there is if the students can open it in Kami and they can see the video comments, that should work fine. Otherwise, if you can reach out to the support team with kind of that recording and the student's email, we can dive into that in the back end and figure out what's causing that for you.
Great, thank you.
Awesome. So the next one is, it's like 2 questions in one. So we had one of our participants say that they're an admin in another teacher's course and they help out sometimes. So can this teacher leave sticky note comments for students that are not technically hers?
She can, so that teacher can, using Kami. The one caveat is, depending on the LMS that you're using, that teacher may need to have the students go into their Google Drives, go to the folder for the assignments, right click on it and share it with that admin, just because currently a lot of the LMS integrations share the file directly back to the teacher, but it won't share it back to the other course admin straight away. So if she tries to open them up and gets you do not have access to this file, it's just a case of it's only sharing it with the teacher, so the students would just have to share it first. But once it's shared, they can easily open it into Kami and start annotating.
Okay, and so the second part of this, is that also the same thing for teachers seeing the audio comments?
So the audio comments, I'm assuming that's the audio comments either needing to be downloaded or not rendering correctly?
So if I have like 2 teachers in my Schoology course, and I am not technically the teacher of record, I'm just helping out in that course sometimes. If those students add audio comments to an assignment, can I see them or just the actual teacher?
So it would be the exact same thing as kind of that first one, which is as long as the teacher has access to the students' files, they'd be able to open them up in Kami, view the annotations, listen to the audio or video comments as needed. It's just that making sure that if they don't have access, the students share the folder or files with them.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you.
Okay. So this next question is there a way to copy and paste a text box I made? Because the teacher wants to make preset answer boxes on a single sheet assignment and use Control-C and Control-V, and it's not working. So I'm interpreting this to mean that they want a box where students can type answers.
Indeed. I'm just actually going to switch back to my teacher account here.
Absolutely.
I'm switching back to teacher just to show, because there is one caveat to kind of setting that up with the Kami text boxes. So when I click to create the text box on the page here, we have our empty text box ready to go. Because it's completely empty, if you click outside of it, Kami will delete it automatically, so you don't end up with dozens of invisible text boxes cluttering up the file. So what you do have to do is add in the kind of answer box you want to set up, and then either add some example text or just hit the space bar once. We add in that single space, and now we can see it considers the text box as filled. So it's now available for the students to work with on their individual copies. So what might work is maybe changing the color here. Now, copying and pasting, it can't be done directly with Control-C, Control-V, just because selecting the text box will try to type in it, so it's trying to select and copy the text. But under the Select Annotations option here, I can select my text box, copy, and then I can use Control-V to paste it in as many times as needed. So it's just a case of you would need to create the text box and use Select Annotations to copy it, and then either use the toolbar at the top or Control-V to start pasting them.
That's a nice trick.
I like
Very
that.
nice.
I mean,
Yeah.
time saver. I'm all about saving time here.
Yes.
No worries. And that will work for, also I will just mention that will work for pretty much, or the Select Annotations copy and paste will work for any of the loose annotation tools. So basically anything that isn't directly bound to text or a static point. So text boxes, equation boxes, drawings, shapes, inserted images and signatures, all of those can be selected, copied and pasted. The only ones that can't be are the comments and the markup, just because those have to be either attached to text or bound to a static point.
Very cool. Thank you for that information. That's, I mean, I know for me, it's like, okay, that's really good to know that I can just copy and paste certain things. Okay, so we have one more question. Can the document that you add be in a shared drive in Google, or does it have to be in my drive?
Yes, so you can add, you can open, upload, and use documents from a shared drive. So if I actually go into my teacher shared drive here, well, I don't really set up, but I can use shared files, for example. So you would be able to load them. The one thing I will just mention there is that if any other people or any other users try to use that file in the shared drive for a Kami assignment, it will template from the same one. So your annotations would appear when they open it up. So it would be, for example, if I annotate the document for class A, and then say run annotates it for class B, the annotations for both would appear on the same file. So I would recommend, if it's a shared drive that's going to be used by multiple teachers for the same kind of class, it might be worth making your own copy unless you want it annotated collaboratively.
Okay, that's, I mean, that's really good to know. I like it. I think it's definitely important to know that whatever, if I take from a shared drive, whatever annotations are already on it are going to be like, they're going to be brought with it. So if I don't necessarily want that on there, I need to know. And then
Great.
there was one more, Amanda, or did we?
It looked like it got answered in the chat. While y'all were doing that last question, I was trying to see if there were any more that we missed. So thank you so much, Zach. That was great.
Yes, we definitely learned a lot about Kami for sure. I think my favorite part is the fact that you can leave those video and audio comments. Those are just amazing because it's so much, it matters so much for my students to hear my voice be like, hey, that's really good. Not necessarily just a little text.
Yeah, those comment tools are the most popular one and the one that we kind of enjoy using the most, especially the screen capture is the team favorite just for how versatile it is in everything from showing off how you want the students to answer the question to giving them the ability to show their workflow. And one of the kind of advanced use cases, well, I call it advanced, one of the more involved ones is actually using that in conjunction with the add image and drawing tools. So the example we use is adding in, say, a map of maybe the world and charting out the route. I can remember, yeah, the route that a famous explorer takes, and then it gives the student the option of maybe talking through the points of the journey rather than just the standard, here's the image, write on it, give me a paragraph summary underneath.
I like that.
Very
That's
nice.
cool. That's awesome.
Well, and I like that teachers can also proactively, like if you know there's always a question on how do I do this thing, they can put it there as a reference so they don't get the same question over and over and over again.
One other thing I will mention, just because I realized I kind of forget it just because it's a little annoying, is under the shared with me option for your teacher drive, this is unfortunately where the assignments for Schoology will appear. So that's the one we assigned earlier. But because they will appear here, this does actually give you the option of using the open with, annotate with Kami option here to actually open the student's assignment before they've turned it in. So if you've got a student who really sounds like they're struggling, we could actually find their file in our drive, open it up, and because this will put it in that same collaborative state the grading viewer will, we could actually give them in progress feedback. So I could open up my student's assignment here, see they're struggling with question 3, and add a comment in for them that they'd see the next time they open it.
That's awesome. I mean, that's literally like, oh, I see, like, you need help, let me help you before you turn it in. It's that feedback that's so important.
Yeah, unfortunately, Schoology is the problem one, which is it will add it into the shared with me, though I know our engineering team is consistently and constantly looking for a way around that.
Good to know.
Good,
Well,
good.
Thank you so much, Zach. You definitely, I mean, I learned so much about Kami today, even in like with all the questions that our participants asked and everything. So we really appreciate you taking the time, especially since it's like it's now 7 a.m. there.
Yeah. One thing, if you don't mind me just quickly plugging, is we do have both a Kami YouTube channel that has videos covering everything from kind of a more in-depth tutorial for each tool through Schoology as a webinar, individual videos for each tool here. And I know it popped up while I was demoing on the 18th, later this week on the 18th, we do have our Kami Connect virtual conference. So that is going to have a keynote speaker. It's going to have virtual webinar sessions that talk through some use cases, some ideas for Kami and remote learning, as well as some Q&A with the CS team, and I believe product updates from the CS team lead and CEO Henji. So if you are interested in that, I know there's a registration link that pops up when you open Kami, and otherwise just finding Kami Connect on the website. And who knows, maybe I'll see some of you there.
I mean, I know I signed up for it because
Same here.
we're just excited to learn more about Kami. Well, thank you again very much, Zach. We appreciate it. And for our audience, for our participants, we are going to take a short break, and then we will be back with our last session of the day. So y'all stick around, okay?
Alrighty, thank you very much for having me.
Welcome to EdTech Live. We're so happy that you're here. I'm Ryan. This is Tammy.
We would like to take a moment to welcome you to today's sessions and give you a little information about what to expect.
A new session starts each hour, and you can stay for the whole event or just watch the sessions that you're interested in. There is a 10 to 15 minute break between each session where you can enter attendance credit, participate in Twitter challenges, or take care of personal needs.
During each session, the presenter will give you a link. We'll pause the session so you can jot it down. Make sure you keep this at the end of the session. You will submit that information to get credit.
Within an hour of submitting your attendance, you should be receiving a response receipt. If you do not receive this email, please resubmit the attendance form and double check to guarantee that your email address is typed correctly.
We, along with our whole EdTech team, want to thank you for being here today and enjoy your session. It will be starting soon.
Welcome to EdTech Live. We're so happy that you're here. I'm Ryan. This is Tammy.
We would like to take a moment to welcome you to today's sessions and give you a little information about what to expect.
A new session starts each hour, and you can stay for the whole event or just watch the sessions that you're interested in. There is a 10 to 15 minute break between each session where you can enter attendance credit, participate in Twitter challenges, or take care of personal needs.
During each session, the presenter will give you a link. We'll pause the session so you can jot it down. Make sure you keep this at the end of the session. You will submit that information to get credit.
Within an hour of submitting your attendance, you should be receiving a response receipt. If you do not receive this email, please resubmit the attendance form and double check to guarantee that your email address is typed correctly.
We, along with our whole EdTech team, want to thank you for being here today and enjoy your session. It will be starting soon.
We are back for our last session of the day. I know it's been a fun day, hasn't it, Amanda?
You know, if you've been with us from the beginning, thank you, thank you, thank you. It's working. We're making it work, you know?
Yes. I mean, that we do not appreciate you guys. Like, y'all are awesome because y'all stuck with us through all the stopping and starting, and it's fun. So our last presenters are two wonderful, smart, funny ladies from the EdTech department. We are going to hear from Miss Shannon Gillpatrick and Miss Jamay Johnson, and they are going to introduce us to some apps that let us take books on the road. We can go anywhere with these books. Anywhere.
Anywhere?
Well, I wouldn't get don't go swimming with your iPad or your Kindle. Don't do that. I wouldn't suggest it.
I mean, it's your choice, but.
True. Not what I said to do. Just throwing that out there. Ryan didn't say do that. So this is, like I said, this is our last session. It is pre-recorded, and Jamay is in the chat with us. So if we have any questions during the presentation, Jamay is going to be able to answer them. And then if we come across anything, again, that we're not 100% sure of, we will find out, and then we will get back to you. All right, so without further ado, let me find, there we are. And I will go ahead and get them started. This will be fun.
Yay!
Because I love reading more than anything.
Welcome and hello. Thank you for joining us for this EdTech Live session. Today we are going to talk about 2 great reading resources for you today. And so my name is Jamay Johnson. I'm an educational technology specialist, and we also have...
I'm Shannon Gillpatrick, and I'm also an EdTech specialist. Jamay and I work closely together with mostly our language arts teachers in elementary, but the exciting thing is about what we're going to show you today is good for all teachers in all content areas and staff too. So, and students. All right, let's go.
Okay, and today's session is
CFISD. We're going to be hitting the books like Jamay said, but not just the books. We're going to be hitting the ebooks and exploring both SORA and Scholastic Literacy Pro, which are 2 digital libraries that you have access to as well as your students. And if you would like this presentation, you can go to the bit.ly down on the bottom right corner, bit.ly/CFISD ebooks, because there are several videos and things in here that you would probably want to use with your students whenever you're introducing them to both of these programs. Who benefits from access to online libraries? We all do, right? Our world is so much more digital than it used to be. And the benefit of having something online is that you're not limited to the books that are in the classroom, which I know teachers have amazing libraries in their classroom and they work so hard to build those up. But with an online library, it just expands that even more, and your school library or campus library as well. But if it's online, again, you are not limited, and there's something even better about it too, is that it is available not just on Library Day.
It's open 24/7, which is awesome. Isn't that great, Ms. Gillpatrick?
It is.
And I also see that you have a library behind you.
Yes, I do. You know, I would take some books off here to show you, but wouldn't it be great if all of this was actually online, right? So that's the other benefit. It's available at all times, 24/7, as long as you have internet access, which hopefully you all do today. And students can access the same books that other students can access as well. And so it provides that equity. The students at home can access the same books that students at school are using as well, which allows them to collaborate together and share ideas, join in a book club, or with teachers and staff, you can collaborate with each other in a book study. So Jamay, you and I could both be using the same book and have conversation about it because we don't have to purchase it.
No.
And the school doesn't have to purchase it for us, and it is available. And the other benefit, the research shows that, you know, there are a lot of people out there, sometimes, you know, struggle, don't really like to read or think they don't like to read. But one of the things that really helps hook them into the reading is being able to self-select their books. And so it increases their motivation and, you know, helps them to learn about things that they have interest in. And so student choice is a big thing with online libraries because it allows them to have not unlimited, but very expansive choice.
I think that's great because it allows me to have choice as well, even as a staff member.
Oh, yeah.
Hit my interest level as well. So the first resource we're going to talk about is SORA. So let's watch this short clip and we'll get back with you.
With SORA, you can get free ebooks and audiobooks from your school. Digital books are automatically returned on their due dates, so you never need to worry about late fees. When you open SORA for the first time, find your school or enter a setup code if your school has one. Then sign in. On the Home tab, you'll see any books your teachers assigned to you, along with books you've borrowed. You'll also see your recently defined words, notes, and highlights. To find and borrow books, go to the Explore tab. You can browse subjects or search for a title, author, or series. Then, borrow a book and start reading with a single tap. You can always get back to your current read using the circle at the bottom of the app. In the Explore tab, you can also place holds, read samples, and add tags. You'll find all your loans on your shelf. If you're on Wi-Fi, books automatically download for offline use. If you're using mobile data, you can stream books until you're on Wi-Fi. Tap options next to a book to renew it, return it early, and more. Students in the US can also send books to a Kindle. Your shelf also has your holds, tagged books, and activity. On the Me tab, check out fun features like your reading stats and achievements you've earned. You can change your name and avatar too. In the menu, you can add a public library, change your settings, find help, and more. Download Sora to start reading today.
Wow, that's so exciting. And I really, really like Sora. And the one thing that I noticed too is that when I used to go to the library and I had to return my books, there was a thing called a fine that you would get fined if you didn't return it in on time. But with Sora, it automatically makes you turn it in.
I would also benefit from no late fees. So here's how you get started with Sora. And it is very simple for you as a staff member and students to access. So you're going to go to my.cfisd.net, which we call our ClassLink portal. You'll sign in there. And after signing in, then you'll click on the additional resources, which is up in the top left corner, and then select Sora. When you Sora, the first time you sign in, like she had mentioned in the video, it is going to prompt you to select your school. And so by going in through that my.cfisd, you will see here, sign in with Cypress Fairbanks ISD. If you're watching us and you're not with Cy-Fair ISD, then you should have the option to select your school or search for your school.
Exactly. Okay, and in Sora, there are some settings, but this is under the general settings. So once you get in, you'll be able to see that it's there. Up there at the top, you will go to the general settings, and this will allow you to, select the books that you're going to read. You're going to be able to change your language. You'll be able to also change the way your font looks on your device, and also the high contrast and all that. So that's how you will customize it. But also, did you know that you're able to look at and read Sora on other devices?
That's awesome.
Yeah. For example, you can download the Sora app. It's very simple. You simply go to your Play Store, go ahead and find Sora, download it, and you can see that it will go to your Cy-Fair CFISD.net so that it could authenticate you. And then when you sign in, everything will come right there on your device so that you can start reading or continue reading. So you could go from one device to the other and begin reading these awesome books. So just remember that there is a nice little app that you could have and that you could read with on the go.
I downloaded that app and I'm so excited to, because I love listening to audiobooks. And so we're going to talk about that in a minute whenever I'm driving. And so it's nice having it on my phone. Okay.
Great.
So if you're like myself and Jamay, you're one of those that wants to get in and explore, and you're already in the Sora app or on the web, and you're exploring and looking at the different books that are available to you. So we're going to give you the time to do that and just explore a little bit. And if we have the chat open, I'm not sure, I think we do, but if we do and you're able to chat with us, feel free to share some books that you're excited to see or a question. And If not, then that's okay too. We're just going to kind of talk with you a little bit about some of the things that we've learned by using it for personal use ourselves. So I'm going to start. So because I'm excited. I'm sorry. So I downloaded that SORA app, and I was so excited to find that there are audiobooks on it too, because I love listening to audiobooks whenever I'm driving, especially long distance, and I go back home to Missouri a few times a year. And so I'm always looking for something to keep my interest and keep me awake. So an audiobook is something great. And they have audiobooks. So I just downloaded the SORA app, and then I have my audiobook right there, and I'm able to just listen to it on the go. And it's so easy to use.
I love it too. And also when we're talking about 24/7, well, the other night I just couldn't sleep. So I reached over and I grabbed my phone and I go, let me go into the SORA app and start reading. And I was able to start reading right from where I left off. And I was even able to jot some notes down because I was like, oh, I want to remember that, because the book I'm reading is called Developing Growth Mindsets. And I was able to put a note on there just to remind myself and to remind something that I need to, share with my coworker or with, other students. So just know that you could add your notes, and it's just so easy, and it's at your fingertip. You don't need anything else. You don't need Post-it. I love it.
Yes.
Perfect timing.
Time's up. Stop clicking. Stop looking. No,
it's exciting though.
For those of you that didn't access the app just yet, we are going to share some of those features with you.
Absolutely. Love it. So let's get started on some of the benefits of SORA.
Yes.
So you're able to have the audiobooks that Ms. Gillpatrick was talking about. So if you see that little symbol there that looks like a headset, that means those are audiobooks that you can listen to.
And you can adjust your reading and audio settings for each individual book, or there are also some things that you can set that will take effect for everything that you covered in the general settings, Jamay. But for each book, there are some individual settings that you can adjust to. And I think you had told me before that you used the high contrast or the dark mode whenever you were reading it at night. Yes. It just is a little bit easier on the eyes. And, with all of us reading digitally all the time, that's helpful to change that lighting setting. So,
and again, remember we were talking about if we have multiple devices and we're going from one to another, you can see where you can see where your progress is. So also you can also see how much of a percentage of the book I've read. So this is a great way to kind of evaluate where you are and to see your progress. So I really like that feature.
And I'm sorry to jump in on that, but it just made me think, one of the things I hear sometimes people talk about, like the difference between having a traditional book and reading online, is they don't know how much they have left. And so having that progress line at the bottom, getting used to looking at that. And it's just a different way of looking at it. It's not a replacement. It's just different, right?
Absolutely.
So you can also, there's a dictionary attached to in SORA. And so for any unknown or unfamiliar words, or maybe even just in context, you can select the word and get a definition for that word.
That's awesome. You don't have to carry around a dictionary with you.
Yes.
So with that said too, you could highlight, and that's how you create your notes. So you can choose the color you want. Down below, you'll write whatever note you want to remind yourself of, and it's all there all in one. Superly. I love that.
So we mentioned that a lot of books are multiple use books, meaning that multiple users can have the same book, but there are some books that there's a limit on the number of books available. And maybe even just one. So you may come to a book that says that you need to place a hold, that it's not available to borrow. So you can do that. You can place the book on hold, then it will notify you that when it's available.
I love that feature too. And I know Ms. Gillpatrick knows a little bit more about this, so if you don't mind.
Yeah, sure. So in the video, it also mentioned about adding a public library. So if you do have a public library membership, and check books out through your library as well. I went in and clicked add, and I put in Harris County Public Library. I used to have a card, I think, but I don't know what it is. But I was able to put it in and browse the library so I could look at all of the books that are available. But when I went to try to borrow one, that's when it asked for my library card. So the nice thing is that you can look and see what's out there, but then you really only need the library card once you go to try to borrow it. So
it's great.
Yeah.
So just a quick review of what SORA can do. And notice that when you do go in SORA, there's going to be like 4 tabs at the bottom. So the first one is the home, and this is going to be like your dashboard and your launching page. And also I know with the assignment up there, Ms. Gillpatrick and I was trying to still figure that part out. And we really don't know quite sure how that could be done, but we know that there is still a possibilities. And we know we have librarians out there in SciFair, and they could possibly help us too, because they're awesome as well. So you can see that these are the books that I have on loan with me, and then the definition of the word that you see there is also right on this page. And then if I go to the Explore, you can see that this is where I could search, books by title, authors, or even series, because there's so many different ones. So that's where you would go and grab your books, guys. And then
just to say real quick on that, I'm so sorry, Jamay, but I know this question may come up because it is geared towards the user, right? So when we open it as staff members, we see those professional books listed, but if a student opens it, then it's going to be geared towards the student and their grade level or age level.
That's a perfect segue, because I think SORA in our district is only offered 3rd grade through 12th grade. Is that correct?
Yes, 3rd grade through 12th grade for students, but all teachers and staff
could have it. So that was good. That was perfect. And then the shelf tab that you see here, what I also noticed, like even in the video, it says that it automatically downloads if you're offline. But I haven't tried that yet. So that would be something that you might want to check out. But that's where your holds and your loans and your tag activities will be under the shelf. And then under the Me, this is kind of how you could customize and personalize it a little more. You can change your name at the top. You could add your own avatar. It shows your achievements and, and of course, where, if you want to add the public library on this one. So that was a quick overview of SORA.
Yeah, and I noticed here you have the soraapp.com. So that would be if you're using it on a personal device, like a personal computer, or your if you're not within SciFair as well. So you would go to soraapp.com to access it. But if you're in SciFair, go through MyCFISD, because then you'll have access to the SciFair library. And then the last thing I wanted to just share that I meant to share this earlier, but one of the things that really was great was that my daughter needed a book for history, actually, and one of her history classes, and she needed it. And she's like, oh, I need this, in 2 days, or yes, tomorrow, or whatever the case may be. And I had just learned about the SORA app. So I said, hey, let's see if it's on there. So she downloaded the SORA app on her device and logged in, and it was there. So she had the book. We didn't have to try to order it, make sure it got in time, or run to the bookstore or anything. She had the book, was ready to go, and could get started when she needed to in class. So that was, I thought that was awesome as well.
Oh my goodness. It's so nice that, we have this available. But also, I just want to say, I still like my physical book sometimes, just because, I like to keep certain books over time. So then I can still fill up my library behind me. So, okay. So let's go on, Ms. Gillpatrick. What do we have here?
The next program we're going to talk about is Scholastic Literacy Pro. And there are probably lots of you that have used this program. We did come out with it last year, and it is available for grades K through 8 and all staff on campuses K through 8 in SciFair. So with that being said, if you are a math teacher or a social studies teacher or world history or whatever you teach, and you don't have access to Scholastic Literacy Pro, then all you need to do is contact your CCIS or your IS and ask for the access code for your campus, because it is a campus-wide license. So any teacher can access it. All right. let's take a look at how to access it and some information that Literacy Pro and Scholastic shares with us.
That's great. There's this quote that was built into the literacy program, and I was reading about it in the resource part, and they have this book called Disruptive Thinking, but the quote itself kind of touched me because it was saying reading is an art and a science, and how we teach life-giving and life-saving thinking to young people. How do we do that? And then, of course, we know that with any reading material, it's going to change ourselves, and it's also going to change the world. So to me, that's what we have to think about when we're talking about reading and anything, that involves that. I don't know. What do you feel about that, Ms. Gillpatrick?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think that, reading is not just limited to the reading classroom. Reading is happening in all areas within learning and education in all content areas, but also within our personal lives too. And it definitely does affect the way that you see the world and the way that you think and interact with others. And so these are great resources to use to implement in your classroom so that students are getting that broad range of experiences.
And it's all global and it all ties in. So
yes,
reading matters.
Definitely does. So here's how you access Literacy Pro the same way you do SORA. If you're with Sci-Fair, you go to my.cfisd.net, the ClassLink portal, go to additional resources, and then you're going to look for the one that says Scholastic Digital Manager. Once that launches, then you'll see it there if you've added it, and you click Launch. If you don't see it there, that's where it's going to ask for that access code. And the access code is campus specific. So just ask your CCIS or your IS on your campus for that code. All right, we're going to take a look at the features of an ebook. So you can search for books. There are different filters and how you can search. So this is kind of your time like we gave you before with SORA. If you're accessing it right now, to get in there and look at all of the things that you have available and the books that are available. So when you search, you can search by grade level, reading level, genre, interest, page count, I guess, if you want something that's going to be smaller. You can also type in a specific book that you're looking for by author or title. And I was looking for this book called What If You Had Animal Teeth? And I wanted it to only show me ebooks because there are some books that are not ebooks. So check those filters that you have in the search because you can filter it by audio, you can filter it by different things. This is what a book looks like once you open it. I just think it has that progress bar down at the bottom. You can add highlights. You can also add notes too, just like you could in SORA. So those things are, I know that's always the question because we're wanting kids and we want to take notes while we're reading something, especially if it's something that we are going to utilize, moving on and going further. You can zoom. And then you also have a table of contents. So you're able to jump to different chapters. The thing about Literacy Pro 2 that I'll mention is that it does not mark the book as complete just by going through it. So a student has to actually go back to that book in their reading log and mark that they've read it. So, and at first I thought that was kind of strange, but I think that that's great because otherwise you could just flip through and then get credit for reading a book when you really didn't. So just teaching students to go to the reading log section and mark their book complete. So there's also a dictionary, just like SORA. And it has the audio buttons too, so they can hear the way the word is pronounced and the definition of that word.
I like that feature. Okay.
All right. So with the student view, which we don't have a student access, but we thought it would be helpful for you to know what your students see whenever they access the program. So the first thing they're going to do is personalize it by choosing an avatar and completing that interest survey so that Scholastic gets to know some of the things that the student likes. It does have audio available on all of those questions. So you see that little speaker, they can click that and have those questions read to them.
And along with that, they can also do some goal settings. There's 2 weekly goals that they can do. First one, they could set how many days they want to read. And then second, they could decide on how many minutes they want to read a day. And then the little orange circles right there would tell them how many total minutes they've read for the week. And they could also go back and change it as well.
So then Literacy Pro takes both those personalization and interests, as well as the goal setting and the student's grade level, and comes up with book recommendations for the student. And so when they first go on their home screen and they sign in, then that's what they see at the top. And so those 3 recommended books are based on those interests. So.
And then here's the student dashboard. You can see that all of those things are available at a glance as far as their progress. And like what Ms. Gillpatrick said, kind of what they were interested in. So the recommendations there, and then the minutes, and then all of those things that they could just look on, at a glance.
That's also that log time I was mentioning earlier, where they would go in and mark their books complete, how much time they read it. So then the menu over on the left is just like 4 quick places that they can go. So it's very easy to navigate. They can go to their My Books, which is where they have a collection of books. And we're going to talk about that and how you can help guide students, especially your younger students. And then the search option looks very similar to the search that you see as a staff member. And then their profiles where they can make some of those adjustments to goals and things and interests.
And then under the Explorer, there's your navigation where they could explore the books that they would like to read. And you can see that there's the collection, and also they could browse and find and select it based on their grade level as well.
You may notice that some of the books have that orange bar down there at the bottom, and then the book right next to it does not have that orange bar. And that's because Literacy Pro does have books in the program that are not ebooks. And the reason why they have those in there is because it allows kids to mark those books on their reading log that they've read the book. And some of them actually, I think, even have what they call Think More, which are questions about the book, even if it's not an ebook.
That's great. That's great tip.
And the way that you can tell that is when you click on it, then you have these book cart icons. And so they can see that orange bar. That always means read it now. That's an ebook. They will then see those icons on the right that shows if it's a book with audio, if it's a book that's at their level, if it's in Spanish. And then we're going to talk about that purple plus sign here in just a moment as well.
I love that you said in Spanish as well, Ms. Gillpatrick.
Yes, they have a lot of books in Spanish. But hey, like we mentioned earlier, I know myself in the classroom, like I kind of want to be able to control like what books the kids are choosing and what they're looking at. All these books, of course, are going to be appropriate for them, but you do have a way of maybe instead of control, we'll say guidance.
Yes, I like the word guidance. So let's guide these students. And the teachers will have this ability. I think this is new, right, Ms. Gillpatrick, this part?
Yes, there are some options that are new.
So this is where you can guide what the students are reading just based on leveling. So if you notice that, you have them at grade level, but you can also select some levels below and above their grade level. So this is where you have a little bit of guidance to kind of, I don't want to use the word control, but you can guide them. So this is the part that would help you able to level some of the students' reading abilities.
Absolutely. So, and that's in your settings sections, and that's individual by student. That's the new part. You could do it by class before, but you couldn't do it by individual student. And so now I think that's great. So, all right. So this is going to show you how to guide your students to personalize their bookshelf. So the first thing as a teacher that you'll do is you'll go in and set the student reading levels. Now, we already talked about how you can set their grade level, but you could also put in their guided reading level or their Lexile level. So you'll go into your students and reports section. You can see we gave this student a level C. And then when that student goes into their login, then the books that they're going to see when they do a search are going to be at their level. It's still going to bring in books that are based on their interest. But when they do a search, this is what you'll guide students to do. So they do a search, just do a blank search. Don't click on any of those interests or don't type anything. Then they'll want to select ebooks only, and then they'll click My Level. Now, all the books that show up here are going to be books that are at or below the guided reading level or the Lexile level that the teacher has set for that student. And so then all they have to do is click these plus signs, and they can add those books to their bookshelf. So now when they go to My Books, those books are going to be down there, and those are the ones that their teacher has helped them select, let's say. Again, only if they select My Level are those books going to be filtered that way. They still can search books that are beyond and push them a little bit, right? But that is a way that the teacher can help to select some books that are on that instructional level.
And Ms. Gillpatrick, I know that was a lot said, but remember, they could grab our presentation and they could go and, scrub back if they need to, or,
Yes.
just so that they have that available. So
Yes.
we have that bit.ly.
Yeah, and you're about to talk about the resources that are available, and all of this is available in their resources. A lot of the things that we got are in here with parent videos, as well as the handbook and what you're about to share.
No worries. We have, what I really like is under the resources tab, it does have some instructional resources, and the two that we're mentioning right now is the conferring question, which is available. So if you want to have these questions already there, you can have them all ready for them. And then there's the teaching tip cards, which are really nice, because what you can do with them is you can use these in small groups. So you can just have those cards ready for them, and it's all you have to do is print them out or whatever you need to do, or you can download them. And I think we're going to probably add them to our groups in Schoology as well. So if you really need them, we could have them available to you.
Yes, it's in an Excel spreadsheet. So you can filter it, look for that specific book, and then it has that teaching tip card for that book to use with your students.
That's awesome.
So back to the beginning to sum it all up, who benefits from access to online libraries? Everyone does.
Everyone. I love that. And
it is available 24/7. It does not have limited hours as long as your Wi-Fi is available. Right? I got to throw that out there.
I know. And also multiple users. It's
yes.
Awesome. One thing too, Ms. Gillpatrick, in our district, we're going 1-to-1.
We are. Yeah, we are. And we're getting really close to having a device with every student. And if a student does not have internet access at home, then they can request the hotspot to give them that internet access at home. So again, it just helps to achieve that equity among all students and make sure that they can access things at home. And these are two wonderful libraries that they can use for, pleasure, for fun, for reading, but also can use for instructional purposes too.
I love it. And we do have wonderful librarians in our school district, and I know that they're aware of these two resources. So if you need any help, you can ask them as well. But we really appreciate y'all coming out today and watching us on this cold, cold day. So we hope the rest of the afternoon is nice and warm. So thank you for joining us.
All right. So that was Miss Jamay Johnson and Shannon Gillpatrick. And we are actually going to share that attendance verification code in the YouTube chat right now. So that way we can get you guys your attendance for session number 4. Okay.
Great.
Yeah. And that's what, so we decided when it was like, hey, we might have an ice/snow storm. That's when we were like, okay, it might be good to, have some pre-recorded sessions, just in case. And I'm really happy that we did that because basically all of our 3 out of the 4 of them were like, yeah, don't have power. So we really appreciate our presenters, especially those who took the time and got us a recording before we went live today so that we could share all of these wonderful tools with you. We do want to share kind of a way to help because we do know that it is 12:40 and you might want to hit pause and take a break and come back. Or if one of the presentations, if there was just a lot of information and it was going really, really fast. Oh no. Sorry.
Everything okay?
Yep, video just randomly started on my computer.
Oh, okay.
If the presentation or speaker was going really fast and you want to slow it down, I have some tips for you. Okay, so let's go ahead. I'm going to show you guys how to do this. So here's YouTube, and it's awesome. It's muted, but here are some tips and tricks that we like to use, especially when watching YouTube videos when we're learning. So first thing is this red bar down at the bottom. Since we're technically live right now, it's all the way back here at the end. But if I wanted to back this up and go back to, let's say, Cami. Where's my Cami? Cami. There's Cami. If I wanted to watch Cami, if I wanted to rewatch this session, I can just back this bar up a little bit. And then if it was going a little too fast for me, I can come right down here to my settings wheel and go to playback speed. So I can either slow the presentation way down if I need to, or if I'm like Miss Amanda Campbell, and I like things to go really, really fast, I can speed up the presentation. So you do have some control as far as how fast or how slow the video goes. Here's another fun little tip is I like to do the picture in picture. So here's why. With all of these apps, they were showing things and I was watching it on my screen, but I couldn't necessarily pay attention and follow along and do all the stuff. And so I want to have a little picture of them showing and telling me what to do while I actually practice. So here's what I do. So I have my mouse. I'm going to right click once and right click a second time. And then here I have picture in picture. So I can actually open a new tab and then I can move this around. I can make this a little bit bigger if I need to, but I can hear and see what the presentation and the presenters are saying and also practice at the same time. Now, one little, don't do this. Don't click that X. It'll take you out of YouTube. Don't do it. You'll close your YouTube tab. So if you want to go back to your YouTube tab, click here and it's going to bring you right back into YouTube. Picture in picture is gone.
Well, and with that picture in picture, you still get the pause. So if you want to work a little, pause, go back to the video, you have that option really easily.
Yes, and that is so great. I mean, I'm not going to lie. I've learned a lot on YouTube. I wouldn't say I'm a master at anything, especially after watching a 5-minute video, but I'm learning. Pause, it's a good thing. So a few other things is here is our channel. So if you have not subscribed to the Sci-Fair EdTech channel, here's how you can do that. So in YouTube, if you just search up here for Sci-Fair EdTech, and then you can see I'm subscribed to it, but you're going to see, I believe it's a red button that says subscribe. So that way, whenever videos go live, like we are right now, you'll actually be notified. And that's just a really good way to stay on top of any videos that we are putting out for you guys. And so you can get all of the great PD kind of videos that we put out. We try and keep them short, minus, EdTech Live, which is 4 hours. Amanda, I feel like I'm forgetting something. I know you made a sticky note for me.
I did. You're doing a really good job. One other thing, can you show like a past EdTech Live and where we have the timestamps? Because that's something we can only do once the video is no longer live.
Okay, so here I am on our EdTech channel. I'm going to go to videos, and you can actually do this with our DLC videos as well. Let me go to playlist because I know we have an EdTech Live playlist. Here we are. Pause. Okay, so let's see. In this one, do you see these timestamps and how they're blue out to the side? So if I click on that blue timestamp, it's going to jump me in that video exactly where I want to be. So if I go to this one, let's see. And if I scroll down just a little bit and click show more, let's see if it's in the description on this one. Oh, I chose a bad.
You gotta love when that happens.
Right? Always, yeah. Okay, we're just gonna go back to actually working for me. So again, find my video that I want, and here's all of our EdTech Lives from last year and like the 4 that we tried today. Go down to show more in the description, and you can clearly see all of my hyperlinks. When I click on them, they jump me exactly to that session. So those will be updated later. They're not there right now, but they will be there. And then one other thing is so this video will stay live. It will look like it's live until the last person like stops watching. Okay, so eventually it will tell you that the chat is no longer live, but you do get a chat replay. So you can scroll up and see what questions were asked during the actual event. And then you can kind of follow along that way. And then attendance verification. Let's do a couple of reminders on that. I was about to say, I'm running through the checklist in my head, Miss Campbell.
You got it. You got the next one on there.
Yes, in order. Okay, attendance verification. So if you were unable to, or if you're joining us after the fact, after this is no longer live, then the verification codes were actually shared during the presentations, and you can grab the bit.lys and paste them into a new tab and fill out the verification code or fill out the attendance that way. We are leaving them open the rest of today, and I believe a little bit tomorrow, just because we did have so many like whoopsies this morning. And if you hung in there with us from 8:30 this morning, thank you. Thank you so much, because there are certain things that we just can't control, but we're trying our best. So for those attendance verification, if you get the bit.ly, put them into a new tab and fill out the form. You should get a response receipt within about an hour of filling it out. If you do not, here are a few of our suggestions. And I know there were 3 of them. I'm going to try and remember all 3, Amanda. Okay. So first suggestion, check your junk or your clutter in your inbox to see if it happened to go there. Suggestion number 2, double, triple, and quadruple check your email is typed correctly. Don't put a comma where a period is supposed to be. We are cfisd.net, not .com or .org or .edu. That was another one. So double check that your email is correct. And then I got 2 out of 3. Amanda, what was the third suggestion?
That's okay. My dog stopped barking. So
great,
the last suggestion is, if neither of those let you see the email, check for CFISD EdTech Live and just search your email, because that's in the subject line. So that will hopefully bring the attendance verification email up.
Yes, that was another thing. That was our third suggestion. Okay, what is next on the list, Amanda? Did I get everything?
Well, I have two more things on our official sticky note.
Okay.
So if you missed any of the videos from earlier today, like Ryan was showing you with that red line, you can just scrub back even while it's live, go back and get those sessions and still use those bit.lys to do attendance. And then last thing, remember that our Twitter challenge is still going on. So in addition to being a lot of fun, you can also win fun prizes. So if you haven't gotten on Twitter, just go to SciFair EdTech and look for hashtag CFISD EdTech Live T1234. So
Yes, we've had some fun with the Twitter challenges. I mean, they're always fun. I think my favorite was, who do you want to play you in like the movie of your life? I'm like, oh, that's easy for me.
So hard for me. So hard.
But yet the actress you chose was really good.
Well,
like, she would be such a good person to play you in a movie.
There you go. Thankfully, I had friends to help me out.
I mean, what are friends for?
Right,
so,
right.
We just want to, one last quick thank you so very much for hanging in there with us today while we got everything, going. And I learned a lot about the tools that we have, some of the tools that we have in SciFair. And that was the big thing, is that we really wanted to show you guys what we have and how it can help you, navigate what we're going through right now. So keep in mind that we will have another EdTech Live. Hopefully it won't be another, ice storm day. Fingers crossed.
Yes, well, and we don't know the exact date yet. So as long as you've done the RSVP and or the attendance verification, we'll use those same emails to send out notifications so you know when we know.
Yes, and as soon as we know, we'll let you guys know. So thank you one more time from our team. We really appreciate you guys taking the time out of your Monday on this extremely cold day to hang out and learn with us. I had fun. I learned a lot. Amanda, I hope you did too.
I did too. It was definitely a different experience being in front of the camera. So I'm like, meh. Here we go.
I'll say thank you, Amanda, for being my backup co-host and then taking care of things when my internet decided to go bye-bye.
That's all right. We're a team.
Yeah.
You made it. Yes.
Teamwork.
Always. Always.
Y'all have a wonderful Monday and we will see y'all later.